what's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Weekly D Podcast. I'm your host, Danny G, and today we got a very special guest, a friend of mine that I've known since high school, and creator and host of I'm Gonna Need a Beer podcast, Cavnar.
How's it going, everybody? How you guys doing?
What's up, buddy? How you
Not
doing?
much, man. I've been doing pretty good, man. I actually just came back from DC yesterday.
How was it?
It was my first time ever going to the city.
Okay.
Hell, driving in, for one. I hated driving it so much. And I'm from Houston, but
Yeah.
even for a small district, it gets intense.
Does it really?
But yeah, it's like okay, for one, like parking garages are sketchy there. We'll get into that. Super sketchy. But parking on the street, everything you've got to pay for.
Mhm.
You get really lucky, you can get free parking, but you really got to know the city.
Okay.
But it's all parallel parking, and I am garbage at parallel parking. Absolute garbage.
You don't have a car
But
with
other-
park assist?
What is that? Say
You don't have a car with park assist?
no. I wish I did. That would have been beautiful. No, that thing kicks my ass every time. But otherwise, like, the city is awesome. Like, actually seeing the monuments and everything in real life is super cool. Like,
Yeah.
the Lincoln Memorial is exactly what you would expect it to be. Like, you think like Planet of the Apes, or you think like, when they walk up to Lincoln Memorial, it's just this massive thing. It really is. Like, it is intense and it's beautiful, like super cool.
Yeah, dude, I bet it was an experience going out there. Was that your first time going to DC, or?
It was my first time. And I actually got to knock out three states along with it. I got to see Virginia, West Virginia, and Maryland for the first time.
Nice.
And so those are really cool too. All cool places. The fall here is gorgeous.
That's
like,
actual fall.
Bright yellows. Yeah, like bright yellow trees, bright red trees. It's something like you don't like when you live in Texas for the longest time. You see fall, you're like, okay, like 2 or 3 yellow trees, and then like green everything else.
Yeah,
and then gray grass. Yeah, but there it's like a crisp 50 degrees by this time already. It's like bright colors. It's really nice.
Okay, that's awesome. Did you try any good seafood out there, or?
So when I was
in Maryland, Maryland's known for seafood, right?
Yeah, they're really known for crab specifically.
Okay.
So we did go to a place when we were driving through called the Krabby Pig, which was pretty good. I had my first soft shell crab for the first time. It was a soft shell crab sandwich.
That sounds amazing.
It was.
That sounds real good.
It's pretty fire. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Barbecue, it's no go there. But Texas is where it's at.
I mean, yeah. It's like you got St. Louis barbecue, and then you got Texas barbecue. Another place really. Nashville has decent barbecue.
Nashville's got good, like Memphis. Memphis area's got that like really like they have their own style of barbecue, which is really cool. Like, but still got to go there. Have not been to Memphis. Been to all over Tennessee, but never Memphis.
Yeah, I've never been, but from what I've heard, is Memphis is really good when it comes to barbecue.
If we ever get a chance, if I'm still here for some reason in Kentucky, if you want to come up once all this COVID craziness is done, just come on up and we'll go down.
Dude, I've been wanting to go up there because my godfather lives in Richmond.
Okay, like Richmond, Kentucky.
Yeah, he has I think he has over 100 acres of property out there.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So I've been wanting to go out there because he has his property and he lives off the farm. He has livestock and whatnot. And then around this time, he has his own pumpkin patch. He has Halloween mazes and all kinds of stuff.
You may need to hit me up on that when you get a chance, because me and my wife actually have been looking for a cool orchard to go check out.
Yeah.
Through the mazes and stuff. So if he's open right now with everything going on, like be down to go and check it out and go support his business.
I'll hit him up, see if he's open. I know he's done it every year. This might be the first year because of COVID. But literally every year he does his like maze, his haunted maze, his pumpkin patch. They have bay rides, like the bell rides and everything.
Oh, cool. That's sick.
Yeah, and then he has like his own farmer's market in front of his farm and whatnot. He really does.
So he's got a nice little business going.
Oh yeah. They moved to Kentucky to become farmers.
That's awesome. It's a perfect place, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, it really is.
Yeah, I mean, I've been wanting to go. I heard it's gorgeous. Y'all have a gorgeous winter down there or up there.
Yeah, it's not enough snow to feel like you're stuck, but enough to get some enjoyment out of it, to feel like, oh, it's Christmas time, like, oh, it's gonna feel like nice, but it's not enough to where you're like, oh, I hate living here, like Minnesota, too much snow, too cold. I couldn't do it. I would be miserable living under 0 degrees Fahrenheit any more than like, 1 day out of the year.
Yeah. I'm not a cold person at all. Definitely a warmer weather person, but I've always wanted to experience that, like have the snowy Christmas, because that's the last thing you have here in Houston. Houston, you're wearing shorts and a t-shirt and a baseball cap during Christmas time because it's too damn hot to do anything.
And I'm not gonna lie, I love it. I love being able to wear. My favorite thing is just wearing shorts regularly all year round, and that's why I miss Texas so much. I cannot wait to get back.
Yeah,
I love Louisville. Kentucky is great. It's cool. It is, like you said, very gorgeous, but it ain't home. You know what I mean?
It ain't home. Yeah. Well, I mean, you're born and raised in Texas, right?
Yeah.
Boy,
till the day I
die. Yeah. I mean, that's one thing. Like I said, I've always wanted, and I hope, if not this year because of COVID and all that bullshit, I'm gonna try to make it up there next year.
For sure.
That's one of my goals, is go down there for Christmas and spend it with that side of the family.
That would be awesome. That would be awesome.
Brewery hopping, maybe go see the Jack Daniels facility. I know it's a drive money, but I still want to go see it.
Yeah, you'll be able to definitely do that. And then also bourbon is huge in Kentucky. Yeah. So like here in Louisville, we have Maker's Mark is about an hour from here, but we have like Wild Turkey, Evan Williams, like Wild Rabbit, like all kinds of really good bourbon spots. Yeah, Buffalo Trace is like an hour away.
Oh my God. You're in the perfect location then.
Yeah, prime. I was living in Shepherdsville, Kentucky, which is like a small town outside of Louisville, and we were 10 minutes from Jim Beam, like the actual Jim Beam, like distillery. Dude, which is really cool.
So how does that work though in those distilleries? Because if I'm right, Tennessee is like a dry state, right? Like you can't consume liquor.
Tennessee, well, no, you can. Tennessee specifically works in whiskey, so that's where they make like a lot of their money is in whiskey. Jack Daniel's being the biggest one. I think the county that they're in is dry, but they're able to transport and ship it. And they have some kind of rules that they can get around it, so they can't sell it in the county, but they can sell it outside of the county.
Okay.
And then Kentucky is bourbon all the time. That is their prime key everything. They love it. They drink it like they drink it with everything.
Drink it like water.
Oh yeah. And you got to chase them like a bourbon ball, which is just like chocolate, with just like infused with bourbon and cream. And it is there's a place in Frankfurt, which is the capital. There's a small candy shop called Roots. And it's the original place of the bourbon ball, the original creation. It's this really small little candy shop. And you can still go in there and they give you a bunch of free samples, and it's a $5 tour. And like, if you get a chance to check that out when you come up, I highly recommend it.
I gotta make a trip out there. Like, I just have to. I've been wanting to go for the longest, like I said. And then like my godfather, I was really close with them as a kid, so they taught me how to ride horses and stuff. So I've been wanting to go for so long, just go out there and jump on the horse, ride the trails with them, and just experience that. I miss that part of being a kid.
I wish I knew how to ride horses. I was raised like in a weird area because I was born in Houston, but I've lived in Rosenberg most of my life, which, as you know, is the strangest. Like, it's a mix of like country, but also the hood. It's just like a country. It's just an interesting thing.
Yeah. Richmond, Rosenberg it's one of the most interesting areas I've ever lived in, because in some subdivisions it's country as hell. Yeah. Then you go to the next subdivision, it's hood as fuck.
And it's perfect. It's gang all day. I knew some great boys from those areas though. Richmond across the tracks. Those are the homies though.
Dude, it's funny because I moved down to Needville with my parents, and we live in the hood part of Needville. It's like right outside of Needville downtown, but it's a hood subdivision, right? So we got the weed guy like a couple houses down, and people literally roll up on their horses to buy weed, and it's the funniest shit ever. And then next door
to us, a wild place, man.
Yeah, and then next door to us, we got a sheriff, and she's just like chilling all the time. She you can walk out at 2:00 in the morning around here, and it smells like weed everywhere.
Oh my
But
god.
the sheriff, she's just chilling, so she walk out, she'll look at us funny, and then just drive off.
Walk back in like I'm not dealing with this right
Yeah,
now.
yeah. It's like the whole neighborhood smokes weed here. It's so funny. But it's the only time I've actually seen people roll up with horses to buy weed.
That's wild. That is literally the funniest thing I think I've ever heard. I
That and
honestly
side by
like
sides. I've seen people who come up in side by sides and just, oh, we're here to buy weed.
just rolling up on a horse.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's
Dude, that's
funny.
nuts. That's crazy. Yeah, you don't see nothing like that here in Kentucky. Like Kentucky, like at least in Louisville. Louisville's kind of like a city-ish area, but it's not. Like it's a very small city. Like, and when sometimes we'll see like random crazy things, but it's just like the crazy things you experience in a city. Like we had some guy like basically like for instance like walking his tortoise, like his actual giant tortoise that he had, walking it across the street, and he's just like, sorry, and he's just walking his tortoise like it's no big deal, like
Dude,
things like that, but nothing.
Yeah, I love the tortoise thing. Like more and more people are buying tortoises.
Dude, they're great pets.
Yeah.
They live forever. Like you can have that pet. The only thing is when you die, because it will happen at that point. Like you have to make sure somebody's going to take care of your tortoise after you die, because they can live anywhere from I think 60 years up to like 200.
Well, that's why you teach your tortoise to be accountable. And when you die alone, he eats you, and no one ever realizes it.
He uses your nutrients.
Yep. But yeah, okay. So we sent some notes back and forth to kind of figure out what we wanted to talk about, and obviously we wanted to catch up. And
sorry about that.
Oh, that's all good, man.
Give him a second. Sorry. Balto, hey, buddy, go. Balto. Hey.
His name's Balto?
His name is Balto. Balto, hey, come here. Come here. He's vicious, but not really. He's also like very smart.
He's your attack dog.
Hey, Balto. Hey. All right. He's going to go lay down. Hey, Balto. I'm so sorry.
That's fine.
Balto, go lay down, bud.
He senses a disturbance in the forest.
Go lay down, bud. Go lay down. Go lay down. Yeah, I know.
What are you?
There's nothing outside. Like I'm right by the window. Hey, there's nothing here, buddy. Go lay down. Go lay down. No, normally he stops.
He's excited. He realized you're doing an interview, and he's like, "Oh, I want to get in on this."
He's done that a multitude of times, unfortunately.
Has he really?
With people that I've like been interested in like working with and stuff.
Uh-huh.
And I've been like, oh my god, what are you doing? Like not working with, but like, so I work at an oil and gas company, and I've been trying to kind of just see what other opportunities within the same oil and gas company there are. So I've been looking at like HR and like other things, and I had a meeting with one of the ladies from like the head of HR. And of course, like when I first see him, he loses his mind. I don't know what he sees. He sees somebody like across the street, because we have a Chipotle across the street, and he just loses it. And he's just like, I'm just like, oh no, Balto. She's like, it's okay. Like I have a dog. And I'm just like, I know, but he's so loud and he sounds super vicious. He's not. He's only 14 pounds.
Only 14 pounds? Wow, he's tiny.
He's a little guy. Yeah, he's like a terrier mix.
Okay.
But
cool.
But as you were saying, he's calmed down now.
What was I saying? Oh yeah. So we shared some notes back and forth, and I read them earlier, and I was like, okay, this is gonna be a fun interview. Yeah. I know we're gonna go off topic for sure, because that's just how things go. I mean, Absolutely. It's just like when we're younger in high school, we always some way somehow kept each other like laughing for no damn reason.
Just saying stupid shit.
We're always cracking stupid jokes. Yeah, but I see in the notes that you said you met your doppelganger.
Yes, I did.
How did that happen?
So what? Okay, so maybe I wouldn't say it was a doppelganger, but I met somebody that I have never met before with the exact same first and last name as me.
No shit.
Yeah. So it was due to basically what had happened is I was hungry because I'm fat as hell, and I was like, you know what? Lunchtime, I'm about to give me some Wingstop, right? So meanwhile, I'm already coming home because, in the meantime, I was trying to take care of a traffic ticket Lo and behold, the courthouse system's a mess here in Louisville. We'll get into that. But I was trying to take care of a courthouse ticket, but it didn't. I ended up getting basically like sent home. They're like, don't worry about it. Like, we'll deal with it in like a month. Just go home.
I hate those situations.
It sucks. They basically were like, don't call us. We'll call. Like, they weren't even like, we'll call you. They're like, call us in like a month and let us know. And yeah, that's what they told me.
No way. So I have a ticket, right, that I tried to go take care of. And I don't know if you've ever been to court here in Rosenberg. Like they require you to call in the day before to make sure like everything's set up, everything's in order, right?
Kind of get prepped. But that makes sense.
Yeah. So it's a good idea because they give you a bunch of information like where you got to be, what time you got to be there, and whatnot, whatever. So I'm calling the day before I got to go to court, and I'm calling and no answers. Everything's going straight to voicemails. So I literally left, like, they give you three options, like leave the courtroom clerk a message, leave the judges something a message, or leave the sheriff a message. Left everyone about 6 messages the day before I had to be in court. I got no response, right? So the next day, I'm like, fuck, dude, like, I really need to take care of this ticket because I need to figure out a way to get out of it, right? Because it was a bullshit ticket. I don't want to get into that because I might have to go back to court for it.
You definitely don't have to.
But anyway, I went up to the courthouse, right? And like, I'm calling on my way there and no one's answering. So I show up and they tell me, oh yeah, we don't have judges right now because of COVID. They're like, just write your information down on this piece of paper and we'll call you when we got time to get you in. And I was like, okay. Like, do I get a piece of paper saying I was here or what's going on? And they're like, no, don't worry about it. We'll call you. It's been like 6 months. I still haven't got
and you haven't got nothing?
Nothing.
I would hope that like a lot of these cases get.
I looked online and there's like no warrant or anything, so I'm not going to worry about it. But I've called them and nothing. So
it's probably just a mess too.
Dude, I'm sure it's such a shit show.
Just backed up. They're always probably doing like the big court cases first, like people with like, you know,
like
I would say like first degree assault, murder charges, rape, things like that. Like people that need to be in prison.
Yeah, but it puts me on edge, right? Because like if I'm driving around town, I'm extra careful. If I see a cop, I'm like, fuck, please don't pull me over. I don't want to find out I have a warrant or, you know, end up going.
I have that fear too. I am genuinely afraid of that happening and then me having to get arrested because like literally my ticket is a fix-it ticket. It's one of those tickets where the cop is literally like, just get this done. And then like once you turn it in, like you don't have to pay anything. Like it'll be a free ticket. Like we'll knock it off your record. You'll be good to go. Like so I'm already done with everything. Okay. I just need to show them that I'm done. Oh, so like I'm just like if I like move, for instance, like it's gonna be worth nothing because it doesn't even matter at that point because I'm leaving at that point. Like I don't know if it's gonna happen. I might be here still, but I was just like, I'm thinking about calling them and being like, can I just like get it waived? Honestly, like it's not that big. It's a fix-it ticket. Like
just take a picture of it and email it to them.
Yeah, exactly. Can I just do that to you? Can I just email it? Yeah. That's okay. Like we can clear it up. I don't have a random warning next time I come visit Kentucky. It'll be great.
Yeah. Like, yeah, I'm thinking about just signing up for defensive driving and doing it all. Even though I was allegedly speeding, it was alleged.
Alleged.
Yeah, I was allegedly speeding, and so I think I'm just gonna go ahead and be proactive and do the defensive driving. Hopefully, it doesn't expire by the time I need to turn it in.
There's a comedy one that's like really interesting that they have that I had to use when I got my ticket when I was living in Cyprus. So like I would check that out. It's like comedy driving and it works. They count it.
It's like 6 hours, right?
Yeah, it's not funny to be upfront. Like it's not great.
You got to sit down and watch, and you're just like half asleep.
And you can't skip it. That's the worst part. Like you cannot skip it. It is.
Yeah. I've done it once before, like a couple years ago. So I'm not looking forward to it, but I gotta fix it because that shit pissed me off, man. When they're like, "Oh, you were allegedly speeding," then I go to court and they're like, "Oh, we can't help you."
It sucks.
So frustrating.
You know? But yeah, no. So I guess back to what was happening. So basically, I was coming back. I was already frustrated. So I was driving. Shouldn't be doing this, by the way, guys. Don't text and drive. I was actually placing my order from Wingstop when I did that, and I missed. Allegedly, yes. Let's say allegedly. So allegedly doing that, and when I did that, I also allegedly put in the wrong email when I was setting the email address. So it was like I did it to like my actual email address, and or to that guy's email address. So when I got to Wingstop, I was waiting, and they're like, "Kyle," And I was like, yeah, no, that's me. And then at first, like I put in my card, and then they looked at the card and they're like, no, they checked it. They're like, 1 second, we just need to make sure something's going on. If for some reason something's matching, somebody's contesting it. I'm like, what? Like, okay, maybe my car got stolen, something's happening. Just need to watch it, check my balance, all that stuff. But the thing is, it's happening from Wingstop's end. So I'm like, what the hell? Like, how does that even happen? Like, so they were like, just get it checked out, see what's going on with it. And I was like, yeah, for sure. Like, I definitely need to check on that because that sounds super sketchy. So I go in and I check my balance, and I'm like, well, I haven't gotten anything. I haven't taken any money out that I haven't done myself. So all should be good there. And then I was like, okay, like, what's going on? Like, this is weird. So I was like, you know what? For another time, I will deal with this when I get home. So I was like, okay, let me drive back. Then I get a call. And it's a call from Texas. And I'm like, weird, I don't know this number. But I answered anyway, thinking it was like, you know, maybe spam or something. I could just hang it up. And they're like, I was like, hello? And he was like, hello? I was like, he's like, who's this? I was like, you called me. He's like, is this Kyle? And I was like, yeah, this is Kyle. He's like, Kyle Cavnar. I was like, yeah, this is Kyle Cavnar. He goes, holy shit, I'm Kyle Cavnar. I was like, what? I was like, wait, hold on, what do you mean? He's like, yeah. He's like, I live in Dallas. And I was like, oh, so fun fact, like that Kyle Cavnar is actually a bodybuilder, aka the complete opposite of me.
Wow.
But he's like a professional bodybuilder, and he does all that stuff. So if you're ever in the Dallas area, look up Kyle Cavnar. He's got his own, he's a personal trainer. So side note. But he was like, holy shit, dude, you scared the fuck out of me. He's like, I was like, oh, like why? He's like, I think you used my email. He's like, I got the email while I was working out, and I saw it was Wingstop. He's like, I don't eat Wingstop. He's like, I haven't in a while. And he's like, I didn't order. I sure as hell didn't order it. He's like, so I called, and they were going to take care of it. And I was like, in Kentucky. He's like, you know what? Just in case somebody's trying to use my card. He's like, that's not even my card number. He's like, I'm going to call him and try to call him out. You know? And he's like, lo and behold, it's you. And I was like, oh, we want to hang out sometime? And so, yeah, next time I'm in Dallas, I told him I'd hit him up, and we'd meet, get the wives together, and like actually like meet for the first time.
That's so trippy, dude. Running into someone with the same exact name.
It was strange.
That's like when we found out Dan and Kyle Tom Chesson were related. Like that was such a trip.
It was super weird.
Oh, yeah, when you know, because you helped us find bands in the past and artists and stuff.
Yeah.
And when you sent us that high dive and you sent us Kyle Tom Chesson, we when we saw the name, we're like, Tom Chesson. And I remember the day we saw it, we both looked at each other and we're like, Tom Chesson? And we started asking questions. Sure, lo and behold, they were related. And we're like, holy shit,
isn't that crazy?
That's so trippy how things like that happen.
It really shows you it's a small world no matter where you are.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's crazy. Like it could be from just one mispronunciation or mistype, and you can meet somebody that you never thought you'd meet. Yeah. That's very similar to you, just in a different side of the world.
Wait, so you use that guy's email? So you're probably the same age, right?
No, he's actually like in his 30s. He called me Kyle. He's like, you're Kyle number 2. And I was like, well, I don't want to be called Kyle number 2, but you know, yes, I technically am according to age. He's like, yeah, right, 2.0. I'm the better version. But look at this. I'm not. That man's a specimen. At least I'm funny, right?
Yeah. That's what I was saying. My girlfriend. I was like, hey, my personality makes up for everything else.
Exactly. It's what keeps my wife around.
Same. It's what keeps my girlfriend around.
Yeah. So now that was very interesting.
Yeah,
and I was just
trip,
like, what
dude.
the hell? Yeah, I checked with my dad. He was like, yeah, he's probably related to somebody down the line. He's like, we know he's anybody with the last name Cavnar is automatically related to us.
Really?
There's a very small, like, yeah, because we derive from like the name Cavanaugh, which is like a really popular Irish name. Oh, so like when we got to the States, whenever the heck that was, I've been doing Ancestry.com, and we've been here apparently since like the 1700s. So we've been here a long time.
Damn.
That specific Cavnar like breed, yeah. Cavnars and those people have been here a long time. So we've been here a while.
Dude, that's a trip. That's a trip.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah,
but yeah, no. So
I've been wanting to do that, the ancestry thing, but every time I look at my last name, I end up finding out that it was spelled like two different ways depending where the origin was. So I'm confused. I don't want to pay for ancestry, but I might eventually pay for it just to
do the
figure it
3-week
out.
trial. That's what I did, and then I ended up buying it anyway because I wanted to check it out and see
Yeah.
where my ancestry went, how far it went up. Because I don't know if we talked about this, but I'm half Mexican
Mhm.
and I'm half Irish, and
Yeah.
I was able to basically like confirm that I was half Mexican
Uh-huh.
because I've always been told like, so like half my family's been like, no, like you're half Mexican, like it's what it is. Like, and I know
Yeah.
it's an ethnicity, I know, but like it's
Yeah.
mestizo is a thing, okay,
Yeah.
but
I mean,
but
you speak a little Spanish.
just
You
a
can
very
pass.
small amount. Yeah, just a very, and I'm learning more because of my
Yeah.
wife. My wife is like, her family's from Acuna, like not from Acuna. They're from like Minas, really small
Okay.
town outside of Acuna.
Uh-huh.
And like they have a lot of family on like Piedras Negras and all that stuff. So
Dude,
like,
badass.
yeah, so I've been able to experience that and finally get close to my culture
Where,
on
where
that
did
side.
y'all meet, if you don't mind me asking? Like, how did y'all meet?
Actually,
How did that work out?
we actually met in college. We were both working at J.C. Penney's.
Nice.
She worked in jewelry. I worked in the kids section because before that I worked at the Disney store.
Okay.
And I did that for a while. So I'm pretty good with kids for the most part. So that was something I was like, oh, I'm familiar with doing that. And when I did my interview, that's what I pushed for.
Okay.
And so they were like, oh yeah, we're putting them in the kids section. But we met. And then basically I was completely oblivious for like a while.
Nice.
But eventually, like I invited a couple of my friends from JCPenney to Chili's, and she was the only one that was like, yeah, I'll come. And basically it was a date. And so it just went from there. And 5 years later, we married over a year now, almost 2 years. And like,
Congratulations.
well, thank you. I appreciate it. She's a real trooper to deal with me on a daily basis.
Dude, that's
But she's
awesome.
good.
I'm happy for
Yeah.
y'all.
I appreciate it.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, I was
But
wondering how y'all met because y'all like took off to Kentucky real quick.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I kind of came here like for work when I first came here, and then she was kind of like, I mean, at the time I got out of college, and I was like, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do with my life? I have a degree in psychology. I have a bachelor's degree, so I'm not gonna do anything with that. Like for right now,
Oh,
like I need to go and get my
wait.
master's.
You went to school for psychology?
I did.
Eh,
Bachelor's in psychology.
Interesting.
Yeah,
How'd you
I
end
work in
up in the
business.
oil field?
Well, honestly, it was just really good connections, like networking over time, and I got a little help. Like my dad's been working for this oil company too for like a long time,
Okay.
so he like was like, hey, like I have a son who also is interested in this, and then like the first time I got super denied, but they're like, you don't have any experience, like no, sorry, and then the second time I got in as a contractor, and so I worked up from a contractor up.
Okay.
So I
Cool.
started off as that, yeah. I
That's
like it.
cool.
It's a cool business. Like it's definitely different, but I do eventually want to move closer into that over time.
Yeah.
Like my goal is to eventually like move into either psychology or HR, like recruitment, something that involves people. That's what I like. I like dealing with people. I like talking to people.
Yeah. You've always
And
liked
it's
talking
something,
to people, man.
yeah. I
As long as
sometimes
I've
will
known
not
you.
shut up.
As long as I've known you, you love talking to people.
Oh yeah, dude.
I mean, we used to always get in trouble in class for bullshitting the whole time.
Dude, I would talk about the dumbest things.
I would too. I remember. I remember in high school, I was a little bit more of a pot friendly.
Yeah.
I was always like coming up with stupid shit.
I was always such a good boy. Like throughout like not throughout college, but throughout high school. No, college was definitely not. But high school, high school, I didn't do anything bad. I
Yeah.
really was like a good kid. But all my friends were bad, and I loved it.
Yeah.
Like all my rowdy friends have settled down since then.
And we really have. Shit, I went
It's fun
to.
seeing.
Huh?
Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say I went to Oktoberfest over the weekend at Southern Star.
How was that?
It was a blast, man. It was lots of fun. They had like Stein holding contests. They had a couple beer chugging contests. It was a great turnout. I was super surprised because everywhere was packed. Like the outdoor area, they had a bunch of people. The bar tap room area, it was like you constantly just saw people in and out all day.
Yeah.
I talked to all my buddies right there. It's funny because I went up there and like more of my friends that I've met from podcasting are now working there. So I was like,
Oh, that's cool.
dude, this is so awesome. And then I was like, man, if I lived closer, I would probably try to work here too. Because it looked like they were all having a blast, just bullshitting, serving people, getting people drunk.
It seems like a cool place. I've seen like a lot of pictures and videos that you guys have posted, like with high dive and stuff too. Like,
yeah, it's a really cool. The tap room is really cool. It's not the biggest tap room, but their outdoor area is huge. Like it's on some acreage. They have a bar outside too, and then they had a bunch of vendors. So we walked around and talked to a bunch of vendors. We did some tomahawk throwing again because our buddy from our buddy Jake from Forge and Fire was from Forge and Fire. He was a competitor on Forge and Fire. He has a tomahawk throwing thing. From I think they're called Brave Hawk Forge. And so we went out there. We got to throw some tomahawks, and it was just pretty cool. Good time. Drink all the Oktoberfest we could drink.
Dude, that sounds like a blast.
It was a good time. And then after that, we went to Phobia, the haunted house.
I've never been to Phobia. Always wanted to go.
Yeah, so this was my first time going to haunted houses in a while. And we've been Scream World's closed, so we went to Phobia, and we've been to Red Rum. And dude, after going to Red Rum in high school and having such like negative thoughts about it, when I went this year, they like set the bar really high, and everywhere else we've gone, it hasn't been able to reach that same bar. Just a fright to me.
I may need to go ahead and put him to bed.
That's fine. We can pause.
If I take a break and we can update it.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'll be right back.
All right, man.
Walter, come on. It's time to go to bed. Come on. Go night. Come on.
Okay. Let's see.
Come on.
While we take a break, let me go ahead and tell you guys about our sponsor. Our first sponsor today is littlemshop.com. They make the coolest air fresheners. They smell great. They look great. They're great conversation starters. And on top of that, Little M also makes really cool products like little stickers. They make wristbands. They make all kinds of really cool accessories. Their air fresheners are amazing. They're great conversation starters. I highly recommend it if you're an Uber driver. Please go check out our friends at Little M Shop. They have a sale going on right now. All air fresheners are 50 cents, and they got, like I said, they got amazing scents like Miami Vice, Little Black Ice, the sweet cream that Dan loves. They got great designs like Out of This World, Be Cool, and Rad. Please go check them out. They are 50 cents right now. I repeat, 50 cents a air freshener. Go to www.littlemshop.com. It's Little M, so you don't smell bad yourself.
Love it. I love the original, like, that's the OG, like, sponsor too.
Yeah, man. I've done that read so many times, and I still somehow, I don't know why my brain starts going a million miles per hour as if I'm not reading it. So I fumble words, but it's still forever and will forever be the OG sponsor.
Already. I need to definitely get one of those at some point. I have not.
Dude, they're on sale right now. If you want to get them, right now's the time. They're all 50 cents. Yeah, I'll send you it. They're all 50 cents. They have great smells. Their designs are really cool. I always tell my friends that drive Uber, it was like, dude, get you some of these. They smell great and they look great. You can't go wrong with that. And they're only 50 cents right now. Yeah, I'll definitely
love to see it, honestly. Hell yeah. Down. So sorry about that. My dog normally actually isn't that crazy. He usually will bark at the window, but not around nighttime because he doesn't see anything. But
okay,
triggering that. I guess people from Chipotle are getting off work, so he might
hear he hears a different voice through your headphones.
That could be the case. Very much so.
Yeah, he might be able to hear my voice, and he's like, "Who's that? Where's he at?"
Yeah. Exactly. Like, because he hasn't really experienced me doing a podcast before, so he's not used to like
really?
Because he wasn't here whenever I was doing them for I'm Gonna Need a Beer.
Him
and Yvonne were still in Texas at the time. They moved like about a year after I got here.
Dang. Okay. And so you were out there a whole year by yourself?
I was there for a year by myself. Yeah.
Dang.
And it was. I was living with a friend for like a while, and that went south, but I ended up getting a nice place here, and it's been good since, honestly.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So
really good.
Since you mentioned I'm Gonna Need a Beer, what happened with that, dude? Like, you were on the come up. I was all excited for you. You were doing great.
we were really enjoying doing it. Like me and I had a really good time like doing the podcast, and it was really fun. And we would just basically get drunk and tell scary stories. How could you not like that?
Yeah, that's
How
like
could
the
you not like
perfect
doing that?
combination.
But unfortunately, like I think me had to focus on school, like, and eventually it was just like that's what took precedent, which I totally understand.
Yeah.
And then from there, like it just kind of killed my vibe on like wanting to continue the podcast. Like I tried. I had Blake, one of my buddies, Blake, like help me out for an episode.
Yeah.
And it was good. We just had schedule conflicts and it just wasn't the same.
Yeah,
Like,
dude, that's the hardest part, ain't it? Because that's literally the same exact thing that happened with me and Dan. Like we were having a blast. We were on this rise. We were going up and up. And then he's like, dude, I want to go back to school. I got to do something with my life now that I'm off probation. Now that I'm done with everything.
Which I totally get. Like honestly, completely understand.
And I was like, dude, go for it. I'm not gonna hold you back. I'm not gonna hold anything against you. I mean, it was awesome while we did it. We had a great start. We had a great time doing it together.
Yeah.
But people need to grow, and we're in different stages of life right now. He's concentrating on school, just like Mia was for you.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't be mad at that. Like we want our friends to do better for themselves too.
You always want your people to like grow, even if it doesn't involve like you. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of like you want your people to continue to succeed and continue to get better and improve. And if that's what that takes, to have that full focus, I think that's totally okay.
Yep.
But with that being said, like that's kind of what happened with the podcast. I do eventually want to bring it back. It's just going to probably be a while. Finding the right host is hard. And like having that chemistry that like we had, because like my wife and I definitely could do a podcast, but it wouldn't be about horror. She just doesn't have an interest in it. She doesn't like it, like which is totally fine. But we could do something more like Slice of Life podcast. We're actually talking about potentially doing a roundtable with a couple buddies of mine when I get back to Texas at whenever point that is, whether it's a year from now, 2 years from now, whenever that is.
Okay.
Like, we want to do a current events like roundtable, just talk
that would be dope.
Current events.
Yeah,
it could be pretty fun.
That'd be super cool. I kind of like, I have a few other ideas that I want to do with the podcasting. Similar like you, like me and my girlfriend, we're throwing around this idea. We've actually started recording to see how it turns out. I'm happy with how it's going. It's actually a podcast over immigration. And
nice.
Yeah. So at first we're like, how do we start? How do we get into this? But both of us being Hispanic, her being a naturalized citizen and me being born here, it brought a cool aspect to it because we're first generation Hispanics. Like our parents came here and then it was us.
Yeah.
So
for sure.
We figured it'd be a fun podcast. We've done a couple interviews already with friends, and we're just trying to add up on the interview list, trying to add up more topics, and hopefully sometime next year we'll be releasing it. But
that'd be awesome, honestly. Like, because like you said, immigration is such a touchy subject for a lot of people.
Yeah,
and it's such a convoluted, and it's a very simple answer in my opinion. It's kind of like everyone should have a right to like at least try to get here. And I understand. I get the plight of like a lot of the right being kind of like but they're cutting in line kind of thing. But like, listen, what people count as like asylum, what constitutes asylum, and is very tricky.
Yeah.
Because like, for instance, like if you're talking like, you're leaving because of the cartel, well, that doesn't necessarily count as asylum. If you have like cartel issues, or if you're having, issues with like government issues, like for, let's say down in like Colombia, doesn't really count. Like Venezuela's doing really, that's why the big convoy was coming. A lot of South America was really trying to get over here, which not having that opportunity, it's tough. And like, we just watched Immigration Nation on Netflix.
Oh, it's really good. It's really good.
And it's funny because it's meant to be a completely unbiased perspective on ICE and a completely unbiased perspective on like the immigration system as a whole and how it's handled here in the U.S.
Yeah.
And it still paints a bad light because of the way they handle a lot of things.
Yeah. I mean, for me, like the reason I want to do it was like, for me, I want to showcase why the immigrant is important to the U.S., right? So
absolutely.
immigrant mentality. Like we have the name and everything. It's set to go. We just need to start dropping episodes.
I love that.
Yeah, but that's the point of it, is to showcase the immigrant. But at the same time, I want to get people on there from the other side, from the right side, the people that are completely against immigration.
Mhm.
And I want to try to be as unbiased as we can. But obviously we have, us being Hispanic, we're gonna lean a little bit, but I'm gonna try to bring it back to the center. And if I have to play devil's advocate, I'll play devil's advocate. But
And some people will be mad at you for that. Like, understand, like, sometimes like that is going to give you,
I'm prepared.
not you got to, but it's something that's so important. You got to have the conversation.
Yeah. So
Without,
yeah, and like with my girlfriend, like she's very, very passionate about immigration. So there's certain topics she told me off the bat, I can't be in this room when it comes to talking to this. And I was like, okay, that's fine. I'll interview someone with opposing ideas, and I want to know why they think that way. Like that's all I want to do is kind of bring light to both sides and see why we're this way or why we're that way with it.
And I think there's a happy medium eventually that can be met.
Like for me, there's a lot of misconceptions about immigration, like on both sides.
Definitely.
There's a lot of misconceptions.
For sure.
And that's why it's such a polarizing topic, especially because most people don't want to hear the other side.
Yeah, and on both sides of the fence, like nobody wants to hear the opposite opinion because they believe they're wrong.
Yeah,
and that's not always the case. Sometimes, like you gotta listen.
Yeah, so I'm really excited to do this podcast. Like I said, we've done some interviews already with friends, or mainly friends that have immigrated here. So we have a good catalog so far of interviews with people that immigrated here and became something.
Yeah,
but now I'm trying to do the right side of it.
And I don't know if you have some, and I can, if you need help with any of that, like finding people for that, like I can even if it's anonymous, I can get you some names that you can talk to and do like anonymous interviews and stuff like that for both sides, right and left. They may not want to, necessarily put that out there, but they want to actually show like why they do it and why they believe in, where they are, in their life. I can definitely help you out with that. Getting those names, because I have friends from both ends of the fence.
I do too, and that's why like I'm super excited, but at the same time it's one of those things that's nerve-wracking because no matter what you post, you're gonna have negative on one side or the other. But
because you get one side, it's like, well, how could you like agree with that? How could you? But that's not necessarily the case. It's like listening to an opposing opinion gives you more enlightenment to either stay closer to your opinion and be like, okay, I understand like what you're thinking, but this is why I think that. And now your views have like made me think this more. And then it becomes, or it becomes, okay, I didn't think about it like that. Maybe I need to reassess why I think this way and look at it from a different point of view. And then maybe it helps kind of clear ignorance. Ignorance is not stupidity. Ignorance is just the lack of knowing. And it can clear some ignorance on a lot of different topics from all over the spectrum.
I agree, and that's why like I'm like I said, I'm ecstatic to do this podcast. I feel like it's a super important podcast to do, and I can't wait to see where it goes. And likewise,
I'm definitely looking forward to it.
I hope you and your girlfriend do something, and like on your I'm gonna need a beer podcast. If you ever need someone to fill in, you can ask me. I'll come up with some ghost stories.
That sounds fun. I'm always down for that. Maybe we can definitely talk about that.
Yeah,
get something like that going.
We can do a cross collaboration if we have to. That'd be dope.
It could be really fun.
Yeah.
Honestly, it could be really fun.
Yeah,
tell some scary stories.
I like scary stories. I love conspiracies. So I mean, we can help each other out. You can be a recurring guest here, and I'll be a recurring guest on yours until we figure things out.
You can see make that happen. And if not, like then definitely the round table that happens. I would love to have you on as even a permanent guest on the round table, like as somebody who's just a permanent conversator.
Yeah, I'm down, dude. I am so down. And cool, once we're done with this, we'll talk a little bit more about that because I got some projects I want to include you in.
Hell yeah, cool.
Yeah. So since we're talking about this, you told me you have some scary stories.
I do.
And I have one scary story.
Okay.
So you want to get into that right now?
Yeah. So we can definitely get into that. So of course, we know Halloween is coming. It's the perfect time to talk scary stories, and I have one that I definitely want to share. It's a real experience. just besides, like, take it with a grain of salt. Of course, you know, like you can be, you know, skeptical, but I promise you, this is my experience. This is what I actually have experienced. And you know, if you can find other things that could have potentially happened, please tell me, because it still bothers me to this day, to be completely honest with you.
Really?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. So
Okay.
basically, like, for like the longest time, just to kind of put it in perspective, my grandma lives really close to my parents. Like, we live like 5 minutes, like, across the street.
Okay.
And my grandfather died of brain cancer in about 2011.
Uh-huh.
And he had passed away, and she's never since then lived by herself. There's always been somebody from my family, whether it be like one of my uncles, one of my aunts, one of my cousins, like, living in the house at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this time my cousins were finally moving out of the house. They had like just had a baby, and they were getting ready to kind of start their own lives. They were getting married and just gonna make something happen. So it was the first time my grandmother was going to be by herself.
Mm-hmm.
So my mom decided to volunteer us, my dad, me, and my brother, to go stay at her place once every day throughout the week, and we'd all just switch off and stay there for the night. So I was like, okay, fine, you know, that'll be fine. Like, I'll get up for work in the morning. At the time I was working at the bank, and so I was like, no big deal. And like, I'm still, like I said, it's right by the house, so I can get up, go get dressed, and go to work.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. So we did that. So the first night, my dad stays there. The second night, my brother stays there, and the third night, I stay there. This only takes the third night, like, just to be like honest. Like, so I've always hated the back room. There's this room in the back. So basically, think of it like this way. So there's a big living room, and then you take like a left, and then straight down there is like a hallway. And the hallway has like a bedroom on the left side, the bedroom straight to the back, and then to the right, like another bedroom, a bathroom, the attic, and then my Meemaw's room, which is like right there.
Yeah.
So basically, that room straight to the back that you can see from the hallway
Mm-hmm.
has always freaked me out. Ever since I
Okay.
was little, I have hated it. I hated being around it. I don't like it. It's
Did
got
it give
some
you
kind of weird vibes.
Oh, okay. It gave you bad vibes.
Like, really, you know, that feeling in the pit of your stomach that you
Mm-hmm.
get like when you're getting close to, like, you get really scared, or you're like, you know, you have that feeling of like something's like going to touch my back. I gotta run, like, get out of there. Like, that's how it feels. Even to this day, like, feels weird.
That's gnarly, dude.
Yeah. But so guess who got to stay in that room?
Oh, you lucky dog.
Luckily though, because at the time they were fixing up like both rooms.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that happened to be, you know, they were kind of under construction. My Meemaw was trying to make one into like a sewing room, and the other one was, you know, cleared completely out of like bedroom stuff because my cousins were staying there.
Mm-hmm.
So they had this like bed, and it was super comfortable, but it was terrifying. And my Meemaw loves to have her porcelain dolls also in there.
Mm-hmm.
So also not a fan of dolls. Never
Why?
been a fan of dolls. I just don't like how smooth porcelain dolls are. I got an
Yeah,
issue
no,
with the
no.
fact they're
What I'm saying is,
glass.
why porcelain dolls? Why do
You
they
know, it
even
beats me.
exist?
They, I think they thought they were cute at one time. But have you seen those things? Like, they're gross.
Yeah.
I hate them. I hate them so much. Like,
Yeah.
honestly. But anyways, yeah. So I was staying back there. First thing I noticed is when I closed the door, I don't know if it was just the air conditioner turning on or what it was, an old house, but all I hear is and the door opens. Like, and I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. No, it's just the house being old.
Mm-hmm.
No big deal. So I closed it, and it was really cold in there, but I love the cold personally when it comes to going to sleep. So I was like, all right, cool. That means I get to like just get my blankets and just conk out.
Mm-hmm.
So like, it had to be around like two in the morning. I'll say 2-ish.
Okay.
I was laying in my bed, and I was like straight up, basically sitting like this, like just looking up at the ceiling of the room.
Okay.
And I was kind of like dazed, like kind of dozing in and out. I'd been having trouble sleeping. Like I said, I don't feel comfortable there. I didn't like it really very much in that specific room. So I was kind of like, but slowly starting to fall asleep. Then all of a sudden, like, I feel this like cold burst of air. Like, keep in mind, like, I'm facing like the ceiling from here. Those cold burst in my right cheek, and it felt like cold fingers like do this and just like move my face. My face literally moved. I didn't do it. And so like my first reaction is like, I'm asleep. I'm pretending I'm asleep. Like, I'm just not gonna move. Like, this didn't happen. So like, and I was like, if I open my eyes, like I better not see anything because I closed my eyes because I was like, I don't know what that was. I don't even want to know what that was. Whew. So I turned and I opened my eyes. Nothing's there. But like I still felt like it was like whatever hit me was so cold that like I felt like redness on my cheeks. Like my cheeks felt like they burned from the cold, like how cold it was.
Damn.
Like, and when I woke up in the morning, I still had red spots.
Oh,
Like,
you actually had like spots and stuff?
yeah. So basically, what ended up happening was like I said I noped. Like I was just like nope. I tried to call my brother like immediately, and I was like, this just happened to me. Like I just had this like experience. He didn't answer. Of course, 2 in the fucking morning. Like, of course he should never answer. Like, of course he's not gonna answer. He's like, whatever, go to sleep. So like I stayed up and I watched like I've been watching like, anime like recently. Like I really got into a phase after high school, like where I just started watching. So I was watching Death Note at the time, kind of getting through that. So I watched Death Note until like about 6 in the morning, conked out until about 8. And then I woke up and I looked at the mirror. In the mirror, I still had red spots on my face. And so it bothered me so much that I like was finally like, I gotta tell my parents. I gotta tell my parents what happened. I don't want to go back there, like at least to that room. I'll go there for Christmas vacations and whatever, and go spend time with her if she needs to spend time in the living room. But I will not go back in that room.
Holy
So I
shit!
told my parents, and my parents are just like, I don't. Are you sure? Like, your dad hasn't experienced anything like that. He's been there, and your brother hasn't. And my brother was like, well, not exactly. And we were just like, what do you mean? And he's like, okay. And he's like, don't freak out. And he's like, I thought it was like a dream. He's like, because he does actually go. He used to sleepwalk a lot, and he has dealt with like sleep paralysis like throughout his life and stuff. So he takes a lot of that stuff with the grain of salt. He's super skeptical guy. But he's like, it's like I felt somebody like get in bed with me. He's like, I was laying down and I felt like a weight next to me as like they were laying down, and it came up and just laid next to me, like, and I was like, ugh. And then we were like, okay, we'll call your cousin. Like, your cousin was living there. She stayed in that room. Ask her, like, talk to her about it. So my cousin has 2 kids, and now she has 3. But at the time, she had 2 kids. And they stayed in the room across. She stayed there, and I called her, and she's like, "Don't ever tell your cousins this, like ever." Like, she's like, "But I used to have like when we were like, and it happened." She's like, "It happened a multitude of times, but we used to have like the covers from the bottom of my feet would get pulled up,
What the fuck?
like pretty regularly." She's like, "And your little cousin, specifically." So my little cousin was kind of like a fibber. She was like one of like literally just like a little redheaded child who just like would just kind of like tell fibs and lie, and like she was a kid. She was a little kid. Like she just wanted to tell stories. But she would always get really freaked out because she would say she'd see shadows back there that weren't like hers. And like she said she saw them regularly. And she's like, do not like just don't tell her, like I'm afraid that that'll confirm some things for her and it'll freak her out.
Yeah,
So
no shit.
then the conversation was like, okay, we gotta tell my grandmother. Right? Like, how are we gonna tell my grandmother like Kyle just want to stay over there because there's like a ghost in the house, like or something, whatever it was. I like, whatever it was. So we finally talked about it, and we're like, we got to tell her.
Okay.
And my dad was also kind of like, well, what if it's your grandpa? Like your grandpa passed away. Like, what if it's him? Like checking up on the house, sees some older guy sleeping there, and decides to make sure it's somebody that like is familiar. And I was like, you know what? Maybe let's talk to Mima about it. So we talked to my grandmother, and my grandmother's like, maybe it's Papa. He's like, she's like, I've been dreaming about him lately, and she's like, she's had like experiences like when she's mentioned that she like can't see his face, but like that she would lay in bed and that like she'd have dreams of him being like on the side of the bed, and like stand at the side of the bed and then come and lay with her. But she said she never felt like ill intent. She said she always felt like calm. It was like a calming presence for her. But she's never been like, she's always also been a super skeptic. So like she never really believed in ghosts. She just felt like it was a dream that like was calming her, because she had a hard time when he passed away, not to get too like zappy, but she like was really mad that she never really dreamt of him after he passed away. So when she did finally start seeing that, she felt like a sense of comfort. And so we were like, okay, but maybe, just in case, like, what if he's stuck there and he can't leave? Or what if there's something else there too? And it's not just that.
Dude,
Maybe we should talk to a priest. My family's Catholic.
Mm-hmm.
And so my Mima was like, fine, we'll do it. So my dad calls a priest. And then so about a week goes by.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm working at the bank. I get off from the bank. Me and my wife are going to go see It. This is how recent it is. The first It.
The first one? Okay.
The first part, like part one comes up.
Mm-hmm.
We were going to go to the movies to go watch it. So my dad texts me. He's like, hey, before you guys go, like, come to the house.
Okay.
I was like, why? He's like, we just got done talking with the priest. And I was like, okay. What do you want to tell me? He's like, well, just come. Like, you want to sit down? And I was like,
damn.
Okay. And he sends like one of the, like a little devil sign, like right here, like something like that, like, the little devil emoji.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, he's fucking with me. Like, he's being an asshole, but we're going to go over there anyway. My dad was not fucking with me. So he comes and we're in the parking lot. We got to go. We're almost late for like It. So we're like, so what's going on? Like, what is it? He's like, they found something in the house that the priest did. And so we'll talk to you when you get back. Go watch the show. And I was like, great, you're going to leave me with that. All right. So we watched the movie.
Cliffhanger ever.
It was so frustrating. But I was like, you know what? Whatever. It's fine. Like, we'll watch the movie. It'll calm me down a little bit and then we can go. So watched it. Great movie, by the way. So I know if people have never seen it.
Did you like it?
Definitely watch it. Yeah, I loved it. I thought it was way better than the TV like movie.
Uh-huh. Oh, the first one?
The OG one. Yeah. Tim Curry is amazing.
Yeah.
But Bill Skarsgård did an amazing job. And like, I think like it was definitely updated correctly. Like it was a good adaptation.
Yeah. It was done right for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
It was an adaptation was definitely needed.
Yeah. I was a fan too. My girlfriend hated the first part. She loved the second part, but hated the first part.
Which is funny because most people didn't like part 2 because it was too long.
Yeah.
But I like both.
She likes the longer, drawn out, like suspenseful movies. So
mm-hmm. Side note before we jump back in, tell her to check out The Invitation on Netflix.
Invitation. I think we saw that one recently.
It's about a cult.
Okay, no, we haven't seen it.
Definitely give that a try. It's a slow burn, but it is worth it. Like the payoff is great.
Okay,
fantastic.
Well, before we jump back into your story, I noticed on Twitter, right? You're doing the Halloween movies, the scary movies for the month.
Yeah. So right now I'm under the alias Spooky McSpookerton. And I'm a little pumpkin.
Yeah.
But I'm doing a daily like movie of the day.
Okay.
I love horror movies. Always been a big fan of them. And including like horror comedies and like Halloween comedies, things like that. So I've just been kind of doing like both family movies, some that are a little bit more like intense, up to like classic horror.
Yes.
So I am doing that.
I am
right now. So
fan of scary movies and horror movies. And when I saw you doing that, I was like, "Fuck yes, I'm excited for this." So when I remember to check Twitter, I like search your name real quick and then like write down what movie you suggested.
Invitation was my first one. That was the very first one that I had done. Then it was The Ritual. And then I think there was The Babysitters, Vampires versus the Bronx.
The Babysitters, the ones with Bella Thorne?
I think it's Bella Thorne. I forget who it is. She's like blonde girl.
Yeah.
Like it's like basically like a cheesy 80s movie, what it feels like, but it's like a new Netflix show. Got King Batch in it and stuff like that. Or
Bella Thorne's in it.
Okay. Yeah, she's the yellow chick? Is she the main chick?
Well, no, she's not the main chick, but she's like
she's like one of the people, not to spoil anything, but she's one of the people like that wears like that's in the group.
Yeah.
Like, so if you guys haven't seen it, I know like some people like it's not gonna be your cup of tea. You watch the first like 30 minutes, you're either gonna like it or you're gonna be like, nah. It's kind of one of those movies.
Me, like I had this thing where if I start watching a movie, if I'm more than 30 minutes in, I gotta finish it. Even if I don't like it, I gotta finish it.
See, I will turn off a movie if it's garbage. Like I will just I think it's like pure garbage, I'm like, I can't do this.
If I get 30 minutes in, I force myself to watch it. And I watch
like
all the movies. But
like Ghost Rider 2. Ghost Rider 2 is garbage. Absolute garbage. Nicolas Cage is such a good actor, but he does such garbage movies half the time.
Yeah, I always wonder if he has like student loans or something he's trying to pay off or some crazy debt.
Could be. That could
That's
be,
why he does all
honestly.
the bad movies.
But yeah, so okay, so I guess we'll jump back into like the rest of the story,
Yeah.
and we can definitely get more into these spooky movies because I can give you like top 5, and we can go top 5 and all that stuff too after this if you want to.
Yeah, we'll for sure talk movies some point in this.
Yeah. Cool. Okay, so basically, just to put it in perspective too, so we get back home, my dad's like, okay, like sit down. So my mom's there, my dad's there, and so we talk, and she's like, okay. And so keep in mind the rest of the story is from my dad's perspective.
Okay.
So try to keep it in that mind, viewers. If you're listening, like keep it in mind. This is coming from my dad's account, not mine. So, sorry, I have like beer chest thing makes me talk real tight.
Dude, I have the worst like nose ever.
Yeah.
Ever since I was a kid, I broke it too many times, so I struggle to breathe out of it, and that's why if you catch me every now and then, I'm like, like breathing for dear life. All right,
gotta catch up with that. Okay, so basically, like, so my dad said, okay, so here's what happened. He's like, so the priest came, they sat down with like me and your grandmother, and so we started talking. He was just asking questions, kind of like, so what have you been experiencing? Has multiple people been experiencing this in the house? Has there been some negativity that's been going on in the house lately? And kind of what's going on. So my dad was just like, well, he's like, to be completely honest, he's like, there has been like a little bit of negativity. It could be one of my other cousins, not the cousin that we were talking about, but one of the older ones. She's a teenager. She's going through like, teenage stuff. And there's a potential that she was just kind of having a rough time while she was living there. And she could have brought some negativity into the house, which could have been, one thing. The next thing is my grandmother was very, very depressed when it came to losing my grandfather. So that could have also brought negativity into the house when that happened. And then there was just like multiple things we were just talking, like, this is what happened to my son. Basically, he felt this like presence, like when he was laying in bed, like touch his face and move his face from like the top of it down to his cheek. And like apparently the priest got like kind of wide-eyed. He was just like, okay. And this is just like from a Catholic priest's perspective. So somebody who maybe studies ghosts or works in paranormal, like maybe you can break this down for me too, honestly, because I want to know.
Actually, I know someone that works for the Archdiocese of Houston Galveston, and he's part of the exorcist group, like the people that have to psychologically evaluate you for exorcism.
Really?
So maybe I'll bring this up to him next time I talk to him.
That could be a good thing. So basically, like, the father was basically kind of like, so let's go and just kind of start off a couple things. He's like, sometimes there are things that like are really hard to understand. Like me and you, like, can't really comprehend them, but they exist. They're not always what you would call like evil, in the sense of like what you would think is super evil. Sometimes they're mischievous, and they like to cause things, cause problems, cause issues, cause small disturbances in houses. And what that does is that feeds them and that gives them power. That's basically what he had said. And he's like, and my dad's like, so you're thinking like it's not a ghost? He's like, I don't believe in ghosts. He's like, I think it's a demon. Like he saw it as like it's a demon. Like, and so my mom was like, no. She's like, because she was talking about like, she goes like, like it could be my husband. He's been in the house. Like he died in the house, and this kind of thing. And he was kind of like, okay. He's like, no. He's like, he's thinking it's a demon.
Oh shit.
So they're like, let's get things started. He's like, I'm gonna do a couple prayers. We'll go down. I have holy water. I have sage. We'll go down and we'll say a couple prayers. Go to each room, kind of clear some things out if we can, if there's anything there. So they go back to the room. At first, he's just kind of like saying prayers, and he's got his thing going. And he's doing the water,
holy water.
And he goes to right before he gets in the back room. He turns to the right toward my Meemaw's room. And he sees like the attic and stuff. And he's like, it gets really dark like here at night, doesn't it? And they're like, yes. So he sprays a little harder. He says like a couple extra prayers there. Then he goes into the room, and my dad said he like shook he had like he had like a shaking feeling. He's like, this is where it happened, isn't it? And he said yes. And so he was just like, apparently he was just like, ugh, and started doing that to like it again. And so he felt something there. And so like that's when he was just like, they were just like, oh my God, like what is going on? Like my dad and my mom are both like freaking out at this point. They're like, like a priest is freaking out like this, you know? So they go and finish the house, and as they're leaving, he goes, my meemaw's like, so he's gone. And the father goes, no, it's gone. And so he gets in his car, and as he's leaving, we have a big acorn tree from the front of the house. And the acorn literally falls like at the right moment to touch the hood of the car and bounce off the hood of the car. And it scares the crap out of the father. Like he literally goes, ah, like, oh my God. Like, and he goes, it's just an acorn. It's just an acorn. And he like backs up and then he's gone. And that was the experience that I had. Yeah. That's like everything.
There's no way in hell I can top that, first of all.
Like it was wild.
No
like
top that.
It was a crazy experience, and like I am very glad I have not had one since. And I'm glad I didn't experience the priest thing. Like I'm glad my dad did that instead of me, because I'm an anxious person in general.
Yeah, it would have definitely scarred you. Dude, that's so freaking trippy. Did you like the background music I put in there? Could you hear it, by the way?
I didn't hear any background music. Was there background music?
Yeah, I had background music.
I like it. I had a little suspense to it.
I hope the microphone caught it loud enough, because I'm trying not to put it too loud where it disturbs you.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping whoever listens to this can actually hear the background music. It was pretty epic. It was like all like haunted house sound effects.
Oh, I like it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, cool. Yeah, no, that's my story.
Damn, dude, that was such a good story. Like, that's trippy though that you experienced that where you actually felt like someone pushed your face. I would have been shitting bricks.
It was the weirdest experience I ever had, and like I just, it's still to this day. Like I hope I never experience that again or anything similar to that.
Yeah, dude, I bet. Weird. Like I love like scary movies. I like haunted houses. I like shit like that. But I am a pussy when it comes to the paranormal shit. Yeah, especially because like
it's real.
Yeah. And you know, you grow up Hispanic, you grow up Catholic, you know shit goes down. Like demons are real, the devil's real. Like,
it's like when they talked about La Llorona being on the Brazos River and stuff.
That bitch is
not really on the Brazos River, but they tell you that when you're a kid, like it's scary you, so you don't go down there.
Or they tell you El Cucuy, like they scar you from as a kid. Paranormal shit exists.
Parents in general.
You don't want to go to sleep.
Specifically.
Yeah. You don't want to go to sleep. The Llorona's gonna get you. You don't want to do your homework. The Llorona's gonna get you.
Exactly. You want to come get you, and then what? We talked about that. Like I learned about the lechuza from like friends at school and stuff like that. Yeah. Like growing up, because like a mixed household, you kind of learn different things. Like they call you the boogeyman versus like the cucuy, or like he's gonna get you if you're bad, like so on and so forth. So we didn't really get cucuy in the house. It was more like boogeyman. But like La Llorona was the thing that they talked about. Definitely like lechuza was something I asked my parents about, and they're like, no, I'm not gonna get that. You're gonna freak yourself out. Stop.
The lechuza fucked me up. You know why? Because like the lechuza is an owl, right? It's a spirit of a demon.
Yeah.
It fucked me up to the point where still as an adult I get fucked up whenever I hear or see an owl at night. If I ever see that shit, I panic. I'm like, get in the house, like close my eyes, start saying the Our Father, do something.
I'd be more worried about the whistle. Like if I hear a whistle at night, like that's a sign to, like, for people who don't know like Spanish lore and like Mexican lore, like a whistle is used to call a lechuza and like the whole folklore thing. So if you hear like a whistle in the middle of the night, it's probably not a good sign. It's better sign to go ahead and get inside. Like
means fucking pull out the sage and go inside.
Yeah.
Start free.
It's freaky. Like I don't know. But nonetheless, like that is urban legend. Like Mexican urban legends are my favorite. I love like the Chupacabra. Like La Llorona is like a good story. Like
were you a fan of the movie La Llorona?
No,
neither was I. I was, you know, this is gonna sound so hypocritical and whatnot, but I was so pissed off a white woman killed La Llorona.
Yeah, no, it's just like it's also the fact that like if you're talking like like I'm okay with that. Like I'm like personally like if you want to do like whatever, if it's a good actor, like put him in the movie.
Oh, it was a
Like
great
I don't know.
actor. She did a great job. But I
Yeah, like
was
because if
so
you
mad it was a white woman. I was like, really? Out of
yeah,
all the people in this fucking movie, a white woman?
no facts though, facts though, because it's just like you should have like the person who's actually doing like the folklore
Yeah.
kill La Llorona.
Yeah.
If you can kill La Llorona, that's like a thing. Can you actually beat that thing?
Yeah.
Like, can you kill something like that? Like, kind of.
I mean,
I don't know.
no,
I don't know.
probably not.
I think it could have been. I think it can be better adapted. I think you can find something like that from even like a small indie shop in like Mexico that could do La Llorona better. And I hope somebody does, because that is such a good story. Even if you do it from the very beginning, like start it from like the original folktale about how she was the most beautiful woman in Mexico, and like the whole story.
Yeah, and how she drowned her kids and regretted it, and
and then you can cut to like the next piece of it and like make something really beautiful out of that.
I mean, they try to do a good job. They really
I think they did. I think La Llorona herself as like the character, like the scary character, it was not. It was good because like the weeping was great. Like it felt scary, but she was also a jump scare like tool. She was there for jump scares, and that was
like I said, I was so upset. And the thing that made me the most upset was the stupid white woman defeating La Llorona.
Hell yeah! And the damn thing is like they put the Conjuring stamp right on there because they're like, nobody's gonna watch this. Put the Conjuring on it. They'll make it. They'll watch it.
Yeah, honestly, that's probably the worst one in the Conjuring universe too.
I hated the Nun.
The Nun?
I hated it so much.
I can't say I liked it or hated it, because if I do, my girlfriend's gonna get pissed. We watched it and I fell asleep about 20 minutes in.
I'm not the same. Honestly, it was really boring.
And I woke up and it was at the end, and I was like, oh, that was a great movie. And she just looked at me, she's like, motherfucker, you didn't even watch it. I was like, the ending was good.
Yeah, my wife finished it. I was like, how was it? Garbage. Okay, cool. Yeah, then I was right. Yeah. And I tried to rewatch it and I couldn't do it. I was just like, I can't finish this. This is bad. Like,
that's the one movie in that whole Conjuring universe thing that I fall asleep every time.
It's a shame, because Conjuring is such a good, like, if you're talking main franchise, like it is a quality franchise.
Yeah.
Like you're talking like the Conjuring 1, Conjuring 2. You can skip Annabelle. Annabelle 2 is where it's at. Annabelle Creation. Yeah. So good.
Homecoming, all right.
Homecoming's okay. The very first one is like
the best one.
Yeah. 2 was the best one. It just, the way they did it was just really beautifully done.
Yeah.
Good horror, solid.
Yep.
Like, but like in Conjuring 2, the first intro to the Nun.
Yes.
Terrifying.
Yes. I don't know if you noticed, but the Conjuring is actually pretty accurate Catholic wise.
Yeah.
Like the symbolism stuff is actually really accurate. I was asking that guy that I was telling you about the exorcism thing. And he was explaining to me how that movie is actually very accurate with a lot of things,
which is interesting, because like I wish it was a better film for you to be able to look into those kind of things. But when it's such a bad film, like it's hard to be like, oh, I want to look more into this lore. I want to understand like more of where this actual factual stuff comes in, because like it kills it for me. I was just like, I don't want to watch this.
Yeah,
but like great, like the Conjuring 1, Conjuring 2, and Annabelle 2. Great films. Watch them if you get a chance. Like, they're awesome.
Dude, I watch them. Me and my girlfriend watch them at least like once a month.
Good.
Like, we're always watching The Conjuring, and whenever we want to watch,
check out.
That's the one. We watched some weird one the other day. I don't remember. It was The Wretched.
I think I've heard it. It's on Netflix, right?
I think so. Not the show. No. It was on Hulu. Because it's
Hulu's got a lot of good horror.
I think it was some indie film, but it was so weird. I gotta figure out the name, and I'll send you it. I recommend it because it was such a weird ending. Like it was so weird, it tripped me out.
Okay,
I'm into checking out
movie. Yeah, I love indie horror flicks. I will watch anything you say, like recommendation wise. I will check it out.
Yeah,
if you want a really good like film, it's super random, you wouldn't think it'd be very good. It's the second Ouija. You see Ouija, the first one, and then there's Ouija 2.
The first one was
like Ouija 2, Origin of Evil. Awesome. Standalone. It's a standalone film, so you don't need to watch the first one. And so you don't have to know any of that. But it is a great movie.
Okay, I'm gonna have to check that one out, because I didn't like the first one. I watched the first one and it just left a bad taste in my mouth and didn't bother watching the second one.
the second one's about people that like she's like basically the main story is like a fortune teller who like fakes doing all of this stuff to like show spirits and talking to ghosts in order to give people like they're kind of swindlers, but they're doing it to like give people like closure because they never got that when their father died. And so it gets into that, and they use like the Ouija board, and that's like a trick, and they start figuring it gets good. It's good. It's worth checking out.
I'm gonna have to check it out.
A lot of people didn't get that one like the chance because of the first movie being such
the first one was done so bad. Yeah. Well, my story actually has to do with the Ouija board.
Perfect.
Yeah, so I want to say it was back in 2007. 2000 and 2007. We had just moved here to Texas. And my uncle passed away like months after we moved down here. And he passed away, and it was a devastating loss. And they were going to do his funeral in Mexico. So we packed up, went to Mexico. All the family went out there, all the cousins, everybody. We were all there. And we were at my grandma's house one night. And my older cousins, they thought, hey, we have a great idea. Let's communicate with our uncle that just died. Let's get a Ouija board, right? So they went to the store. They got it. They took it home. We waited for the adults to leave. So my grandma left, my aunts, my uncles, because obviously if they would have seen it, they would have beat the shit out of us to start with. Yeah. And especially because we're super Catholic, right? So they're super strict on the religion. They know Ouija board is a no-no. I was too young to even interfere because it was all the older cousins. So they buy the Ouija board. Everyone leaves. It's like somewhere around midnight. They were going to the viewing, because in Mexico how they do like 7 days.
Yeah, it's like a
viewing. I think it's called a viewing. Yeah, but they were doing it. They were praying the rosary and whatnot.
It's like a wake, right?
There we go. That's the word. A wake. It's like a 7-day wake where they pray the rosary for 7 days and whatnot before they bury them. So all the adults go down there. They left all the cousins and whatnot, the younger people at the house, so they can do their thing and we can do our thing without pissing anyone off. So my cousins pull out the Ouija board and they set it out on the dinner table. And this is in Mexico, so like our house and the house in Mexico, my grandma's house, the kitchen is just there. It's part of the building, but it's wide open. There's no exterior walls. 2 of the walls is just open to the backyard. And the backyard's like all like ranch. It's just big and open. You can see far away. But it's nighttime, so everything's pitch black. We have a few lights that just barely. It's like it barely lights enough of the kitchen where you can see what you're doing, but it's still really, really fucking dark. So they pulled out the Ouija board and they set it up. They start asking like just simple questions like, "Is there anyone there?" and this and that. And it starts moving. And as soon as I saw it move, I was like, "Fuck this! I'm out here. I'm going to the living room. I want nothing to do with this." So they started asking me questions. Obviously, I wasn't paying attention at that point because I got freaked out as soon as I saw it move. I was like, "Nope." Like I said, I don't do paranormal. I love all kinds of scary shit, but I am terrified of the paranormal, especially because I've seen at this point in my life, I had just seen the exorcism happen.
I've never seen that. Like I've seen like videos of it, but I've never actually seen it.
So I saw an exorcism by accident at a church retreat because I walked into the wrong room. They didn't lock the door. I walked in, and they didn't let me leave. They said, once you're in, you're in. You can't be opening the door because you can let whatever is in here out. So I was already traumatized by witnessing my first exorcism, which was the scariest thing I had ever seen, and that's why I'm super terrified of the paranormal. Okay. So they're playing this Ouija board and they start asking you questions, and obviously it's moving and they're all laughing and giggling. It's Mexico where they're getting drunk. They're drinking, they're smoking, whatever. And then they start asking it more and more serious questions, right? And as they're asking it, things start happening. Like now it's not just moving the triangle. Now shit's happening in the house. So, at first I thought they were playing because the lights started flickering. Started going in and out, in and out. And then they asked another question, the lights flickered on and off. Like they were asking, "Are you in here? In what room are you in?" And then it was in the kitchen, right? But then the fucking lights started flickering in the living room.
No.
So I got my shit and I walked off to the next room. I was like, I'm not playing this. Y'all are fucking with me. I don't want to be here. Deuces.
We'll go grab some food. I'll be right back.
So then they keep playing. I'm now in like another room, and it's weird because the house in Mexico, the layout is like you have the kitchen and then it's the backyard, but then in front of it you have the living room, then you have my grandparents' room, then you have an addition to the house where the guest rooms are, and then you have guest rooms on the side. So I went into one of the front guest rooms right next to the door, and I was far enough where I was away from them, but I could hear shit happening, right? And then next thing I know, I hear glasses break, and like they ask another question, and like a glass breaks, and they all freak out. They realize it was my cousin. He was drunk. He accidentally knocked over a 40. And they just all jumped up and freaked out, right? But then I don't know what they asked it, but they tried to say goodbye, and it would not allow.
Which is supposed to be like a thing.
It would not allow them to say goodbye. Every time they tried to say goodbye, something bad would happen. Like something will fall, and then somehow they went and they're like they said goodbye and they slammed the board shut because it folded. And when they slammed it shut, literally all the cupboards just opened and shit started falling off. Like dishware, everything just started falling. The lights started flickering. And while that's happening, everyone's freaking out. Like my grandma walks in. And she walked in pissed because she saw that Ouija board. She walked in. No. She didn't even realize that the glasses were breaking or like shit had broken.
You just saw the Ouija board.
She saw the Ouija board and whooped all our asses. Like literally everyone in the house got an ass whooping. Right? And then so everyone was starting to come home from the wake, luckily. And my grandma's beating the shit out of everyone, just whooping all our asses. Luckily there was a priest coming over and they had like come over and they burned sage and they blessed the house and they like put salt on all the entrances. We had like a huge mountain of salt in the kitchen because like I said, it's wide open. But I remember that night I woke up to go get water, and so I went into the kitchen and I looked out in the darkness and no bullshit, I saw 2 red eyes just walking back and forth, just looking at me.
That's a big no. Nothing.
And yeah, I from that point on, I never got water at night.
Yeah,
the 1 week we were there, I was just terrified of being in that house. Although in the house you didn't feel bad energy, but in the backyard at night you could see like little light spots and whatnot. And there's no neighbors or anything back there. It's just a wide open field. And we were.
Makes you wonder what could have been there at one time, though.
Huh?
Makes you wonder what could have been there at one time, though, even before you guys.
Yeah.
Like before the house was there, like I'm sure, it was a very open space.
Yeah, and I mean the
house. I'm
sure
in like northern Mexico is.
That house has been passed down for like shit. I want to say 3 generations.
So it was like northern Mexico, like on the border.
It's in central Mexico.
Central Mexico.
Central. It's called Colima. It's like I want to say 45 minutes from Jalisco.
Okay, gotcha.
So it's pretty central Pacific coast. But yeah, dude, that shit is till this day. And when I go out down there, I don't go anywhere in the kitchen at night,
bro. Mexicans in general, let's be honest, like are busy when it comes to like Mexican priests. I bet are so busy when it comes to Catholic priests when it comes to like dealing with things in Mexico, because you have like exorcisms, you have people playing with that kind of, you have people playing with La Santa Muerte, like you have things like that going on all of the time. I'm sure basically like Ciudad de Mexico, like I bet it's just like nuts.
Yeah, I've always wanted to go down there during the Day of the Dead festival.
Oh yeah,
because I know they do some sketchy shit out there too.
Oh yeah, well I mean you've heard stories of like some of the cults, like especially on the borders, like near like like Sinaloa and like Juarez and stuff like that. Like you've heard like cults that work for like the cartels and like other things like you people like so you guys believe us, like they're real. Look them up. There's a real cult that was working hand in hand with the cartels that would like sacrifice people that they found from the border.
Why the murders are so gruesome. Yeah,
they would sacrifice people, and it was for cult rituals in order to make the cartel stronger and provide more wealth, things like that. That's what they thought. And then of course you have people like messing with La Santa Muerte, which is different. Some people believe it's more of like it's of course I don't know if you know the story of La Santa Muerte, like maybe a little bit, but it's pretty ingrained in a lot of people, like when it comes to Mexican culture, the forbidden saint. of
The
the Catholic
forbidden
Church.
yep.
The saint of death. To those who don't speak Spanish, basically, like there are people that worship that, and like a lot of people who are known sinners pray to La Santa Muerte. Like, so you see a lot of cartels, like that's what they pray to.
Especially it's huge in cartels. Like people that are in cartels or are in some sort of relation with them. You'll always see a Santa Muerte shrine somewhere in their house, or you'll see them have tattoos and whatnot. Usually right here on their forearm of the Santa Muerte, which is, like you said, the saint of death.
Which, don't get me wrong, I think the logo, like the actual like drawings and artistically are beautiful. I think it's gorgeous. I think the thought of that is realistic. Like death is something that like isn't hidden from other cultures. Like we all, like, I mean, even the American culture, you have death. The story of death.
Death is death. There's no way around it.
It's the same, kind of similar.
Yeah,
but it's just kind of like that's different from like the Mexican culture, because like a lot of them see it as like, oh, I'm a sinner, and so I'm a sinner. I'll pray to the saint of death, and they'll give me what I need. Like they think of it in a different way than like the average person would.
Yeah, they see it as he's gonna bring me things that are not necessarily occult, but more like things on the heavier side of sin. Darkness, money, greed, like all that stuff is tied in with the holy death.
Yeah, it's wild. It's freaky shit. But
yeah, dude,
that's a wild story.
Yeah, it's fucking traumatizing, man. So it's just exorcism, and then you see that shit, it's just like, nope. But yeah, exactly. I had a crazy experience with shrooms where I saw death, like in hallucination. Yeah,
that would ruin me.
Yeah,
I don't even know we can do that.
I explained the story on another episode, or actually on a recent episode that I did with my brother.
I think I heard some of it.
Euphoric recall.
Like, yeah, I didn't get a chance to finish it because like I was working and then I went to lunch. But yeah, I was listening to some of it when you were kind of restarting everything.
Yeah, on Euphoric Recall, I actually tell my story of why I tend to stay away from shrooms. And it has to do with seeing death and demons and whatnot. It was a pretty wild experience.
Which, to be fair, for people who don't know, it's actually, technically speaking, one of the safest drugs to take if you're gonna take it. Like medicinally, you can microdose, and like it's one of those that like people are still testing out because like in terms of legality, only because like there are no real side effects unless you're allergic to mushrooms.
Yeah.
So no, it's an interesting thing. Like it's even like considered safer than marijuana. Like
yeah, and me and my brother on that podcast, we talk about how like why we're all for psychedelics necessarily. We're not
microdosing's okay.
Well,
like I don't personally, but like
well, I mean, it's not for everybody, right? Drugs aren't for everybody, and I wouldn't tell someone, oh, you got to do this, but I wouldn't be against someone trying it, right?
Or people like schizophrenia and things like that, like it evens them out. Like
and like for me and my brother, we that whole podcast we were talking about our experiences with psychedelics and stuff like that, and we actually got into like how we had different reactions with different psychedelics. Like with acid, LSD, I had an amazing experience, but my brother had more of spiritual experience with it. Like it broke him down mentally to where he took it in as a spiritual experience.
He was just like, whoa, like this is nuts. Like
and just like the same way how with mushrooms, it took me on at the point in my life when I tried mushrooms, I was in a very sunken place. And we kind of talked about it on that episode, how it really shows you your subconsciousness.
Yeah.
So it'll bring out whatever weighs in on your heart. And for me at that time, I was at a sunken place, so it brought out death and demons and just the path I was going on. That's what it showed me. So
which could end up leading to a really positive outcome down the road.
Yeah. Because you take that experience, or it makes you change your mentality, right? Like for me, it made me completely. It was a reality check. I was like, whoa, if I keep going down the path I'm going down, I'm gonna end up dead or doing something really stupid.
Facts. So, like, and I mean, I'm like, I don't know. I've heard like we talked about not talked about it, but I've listened to some of the stories that you've talked about over time, like through the podcast. And it's a lot of stuff that when I was in high school with you, like I just didn't know what's going on. And it's good to see like where you from where you started to where you are now. makes me very proud. Like
appreciate
as
that,
a
man.
friend, just
I
to be
appreciate
there, have that conversation. It is something that I think is
Yeah.
really cool to see.
Yeah, I mean, this podcast is that's one of the reasons why, like, I didn't want to let it go, because in a way, it's kind of like therapy for me, you know.
Good outlet. It's a great outlet.
Yeah, and sometimes I say something funny or interesting. Sometimes I'm just boring.
I like hearing the conversations you guys have. You and Dan used to have some really cool conversations, and some of the other guys that you guys have had over time have been really entertaining and interesting. Like you'll have that biker dude for like a while, and then you'll have that one roommate that was interesting, and you had a handful of really interesting guests.
You know,
people.
That has been my favorite part about podcasting, is just sitting down and talking to a bunch of random people.
You meet interesting people, like
yeah. Like, I mean, honestly, that biker guy, he was affiliated with the Banditos. So we had experiences with hanging out with the Banditos. Like, never in my life did I ever think I was gonna be hanging out in a bar with a bunch of Banditos and shooting the shit with them and just like hanging out.
You just don't know how they're gonna be and react to somebody who's not like affiliated, and it's just like
oh, dude, we were terrified, especially when he started bringing out all the knives he had on him. That episode, he legit pulled out 13 different knives.
Did you find this guy at random too, like in the middle of the night?
We found him in a bar.
That's so sketchy.
We got shit-faced drunk with them and took him back to the apartment.
Oh, dude, that's so sketchy. But like, it was such a good podcast. Like that was such an interesting conversation.
Yeah, and then we got shit-faced drunk and sang karaoke for like 30 minutes.
It's amazing. You love to see it.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm definitely digging like the Zoom thing, and that's another reason why I just want to keep going with this podcast and just having a bunch of different guests on.
Face-to-face calls are cool, like, and they're easy.
They're dope as shit. Like, you're in Kentucky. When was the last time we saw each other?
It's
like senior year.
Maybe right after. Like, I know we have a picture at graduation together, and like that was basically probably the last time we hung out.
Yeah, we were both like 45 pounds skinnier.
Happens to the best of us, but the goal is to eventually get back there. But you know how that goes.
Yeah,
maybe it'll happen. Maybe more than likely it won't. So we'll see. I'll try to keep what I have.
Yeah, I'm trying to lose a little bit, but you know, it's a slow process when you get free beer all the time.
Oh, for sure. Dude, beer makes everything better except for your stomach, but then it starts getting bigger.
I went sober for like 6 months. I had no beer, no alcohol.
What was that experience like? Coming back?
It was interesting because like I instantly, right now I'm bloated because I went to Southern Star over the weekend and I had a little bit too much. But like instantly my face slimmed down, my body started like slimming down. I started sleeping a lot better because obviously. So that's another thing we talked about on that other podcast. I started going to counseling because like for the longest time, I had a lot of shit going on in life, and you know I just figured, hey, let me try this, and really I just wanted to learn what was going on with my mind, and that's why the podcast I did with my brother was called Euphoric Recall, because that's the thing I learned that week. And I had this thing for the longest time where when I would drink, as soon as I had a taste of liquor, like my mind switched gears, and I was like, okay, we're going on an adventure. Let's see where this goes. So it got to the point where I was drinking all the time and just going on crazy adventures with people. That's why this podcast at the beginning was so great, because me and Dan were literally every weekend going on crazy adventures.
It's kind of how it started, isn't it? Just because you guys wanted to kind of shoot the shit with each other.
That's literally how it started.
Just because like you guys are drinking, be like, this would be great to start. Like,
yeah. And like, you know, obviously I had a lot of great things come out of it, like this podcast and meeting all the random people we did. But at the same time, you know, when I wasn't podcasting, I was still drinking the same way. And so, you know, after a bunch of stuff happened in life, I kind of, after my fucking trip with psychedelics, it kind of made me rethink how I wanted my life to go. And, you know, so I quit drinking when I started dating my girlfriend, and I quit for 6 months. I went cold turkey. The first month was horrible. Like, all I wanted to do was drink. And then, you know, birthdays came around and stuff. And obviously I drank on my birthday, but then I had this feeling of remorse. Like after, I was like, man, I got shit-faced drunk. I blacked out.
You felt bad, kind of.
Yeah, like I got a shitty feeling. And yeah, so like it was so weird. So, you know, I kept getting things like that, and I was like, okay, you know what? I just gotta cut it all off, go cold turkey. And And it was a awesome experience, because I concentrated on health. I lost some weight, started sleeping better, started concentrating on work a lot more. But like now it's like, okay, I'm trying to learn portion control with alcohol. Yeah. So I mean, it's been an interesting journey.
I think it's super important, like kind of understanding like how I think as you get older, and it's something that I think you just learn over time is how much you can handle. Because when you're in college, you're like, oh, I can handle this certain amount of alcohol. Like when I was in college, I was in a fraternity. Like I went nuts, for a while, and I was like, if I'm not getting hammered, like I'm not having fun. It got to that point, and then I like kind of realized like that's not fun. Like it is when you're in college, when you can handle that mentally, but after a while, it doesn't. It sucks getting up in the morning, like at 6 in the morning and go to work, and you're just
hungover.
Yeah, no, that's not fun. Like, or having to throw up every at night, and you're not feeling good. Like, it's sometimes just nice to have a good cold beer and just chill, or 2 or 3 or 4. It just not like 12 or 14 or 20 like I was doing.
It's a southern style. Yeah, exactly. So I was my drink of choice has always been Buchanan's. And it's Irish whiskey, Scottish whiskey, and it's my favorite thing. But you can ask Dan if you ever get a chance. My drinks before, it used to be 95% Buchanan's, a little bit of ice at the bottom, and then a splash of squirt. And when I say a splash, it was literally this. That was it.
Oh my God.
And it got bad, I started drinking that all the time, and shit, in 2 drinks, I had the whole bottle. 2-3 drinks, it was the whole bottle. And that was,
you're like, yes, I got the whole bottle down. Like,
yeah, and then I was like, oh crap, now I gotta go buy another one. And then it got to the point where I was like, okay, 2 bottles a weekend, and that's it. Yeah. And I was literally spending $100 every weekend on Buchanan. So, I'm glad I reached that point where I was like, okay, something needs I need to pump.
Something needs to change.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I definitely cut back a lot. And like, really now, besides like, today, like I really only drink like Wednesdays is my happy hour time. Like my apartment throws like a happy hour from like 5 to 7.
Oh, that's
where they have a beer keg, like 2 beer kegs, and they'll actually just let us go and drink there. So I'd really drink there with some guys that live here at the apartments. And like we just shoot the shit, talk. But like it's never like, let's go and get hammered. Like maybe once in a blue moon, but like
every now and then. Yeah.
With my suegro. Oh. And my suegro loves to drink. He specifically likes his Budweiser. He likes his Budweiser. But man, like Christmas, I could tell you about Christmas because like I hadn't gotten this drunk in a while. But we were drinking, like, keep in mind my suegro only speaks Spanish. He does not speak English, and I speak very little Spanish.
Yeah.
So like we don't talk to each other when we're like very much like when we're sober. Because like we struggle. We both have that struggle. He's not great with English. I'm not great with Spanish, but we're working on it together in different ways. But when we drink, it's like the liquid translator. Liquid translator. Like we're doing our best. I'm doing my best Spanish, and I'm being horrible. Like I'm breaking it up, and it's really bad. And then he's doing his best English, but he's breaking it up and it's doing bad. And then we have my like cuñado, like Michael, like basically translating for us. And so that's basically how that works for us. And then but with him. Hola más. Sí, suegro. Gracias. Like, oh, okay. And then we drink another. Hola más. Okay, suegro. Like, and so like all of us, except for his son, because he like will drink with him, but he can handle his liquor. Me, Michael, and then Robert at the time, which are all my like my brother-in-laws. Just like me and Michael walked in, we were both toasted. Like I don't even remember awesome. I don't even remember Christmas. I got like an Astros poncho, which was really cool. I don't remember. I put it on apparently. I don't even remember putting it on. And I got super sick the next day. And like my suegro, like the only thing he did was just make fun of me. He was just like, "How you feeling? You feeling all right?" And he felt bad because my suegro was like, "God, I don't know why'd you do that? Like, like why'd you guys don't drink so much? Like, I don't even remember like Christmas. He got to reopen his presents basically because he didn't remember." But man, they're such good people though.
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
Like, but that's the last time I really drank heavy. Like, that's really the only time I drink heavy is when I go down there.
Yeah, no, I love hanging out with my girlfriend's family, like especially her dad, because her dad's such a lightweight, and like her uncle's such a lightweight, and like literally her whole family, they love drinking Michelob Ultra, but they get smacked like 3, 4
It's so
beers
smooth.
in.
Michelob Ultra
Yeah.
is so easy to drink.
Yeah, and like so I realized this weekend why I have such a high tolerance, right? As soon as I start drinking alcohol, I start to sweat. Like once I'm too in,
Get it all
I
out of
just
your
start
system.
sweating it out. And usually, you know, they're like 3, 4 beers in and they're toasting, they're done. I'm just like, oh really? Like another one? And like
Yeah.
I remember this year for her dad's birthday, I bought him a whole 24 pack. And he was all happy and whatnot. And literally, by the time his birthday party started, because I gave it to him like 2 hours before his party started, he was done. Like as soon
Oh
as his
my
birthday
God.
party started, I just saw him. He walked by me, head down, just fucking waddling.
Oh
And he ran
no.
upstairs and just passed out on the bed. And everyone was showing up, and they're like, "Where's he at? Where's he at?" And my girlfriend's mom was pissed. She's like, "He's upstairs. He's drunk." And she just every time someone would ask her, she would just look at me like and shake her head. But
Like, I
yeah,
know, Daniel.
yeah, no. And then they're Peruvian, so they speak really fast. So you know, when I give him beer and he gets smacked, like it's easier to understand him because he slows down a little bit.
It's all slurred, but it's just like
Yeah,
it is wavy.
yeah, because they speak fast, bro. Like they speak Spanish fast.
Really, that's interesting.
And their Spanish, you know, it's a little different than Mexican Spanish. So
It's clear though, right? It's fast but clear, right? Like it's kind of like
they slur a little bit. So it like sometimes I'm just like nodding my head and just like yeah, but I had no idea what they said.
I know, like European Spanish, they have like that lisp.
Yeah, the Castellano. Yeah.
So like they're like, well, see, like they have like.
Yeah, and what fucks me up is like they use the same words, but some of them have different meanings. So like the funniest thing to me is instead of saying cilantro, they say culantro. And every time they ask me that, yeah. Every time they ask me that, I smirk or I laugh. Like, do you got
fresh
culantro?
ass.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the weird translation. Culantro.
Yeah,
that's so weird.
They got some.
I never heard that before.
Bro. They got some really weird words. All right, man. I gotta take a piss. You mind?
All right, go for it. Yeah, we take a quick siesta.
All right, and then when we come back, we'll do a pendejo of the week. Hey guys, we're back, and let me tell y'all about a quick sponsor before we get into pendejo of the week. This week, pendejo of the week is brought to you by Micha Libre. It's a homegrown michelada mix brought to you straight out of Southeast Houston. They make all their mixes in-house, and depending on your order size, they deliver. It's super easy to order. All you have to do is DM Miche_Libre. That's MICHE_LIBRE on Instagram or Twitter or Facebook. Let me tell you this, guys. They are some of the best michelada mixes I've had. Y'all know I'm a huge michelada fan. We've done a YouTube video with Taco Palenque on their michelada bar, which was dope. And this guy, he all he makes is a mixes. He's not gonna make you a michelada, but he makes some bomb ass mixes. He has amazing flavors. They have the perfect hint of spice. And if on the regular ones, and if you want even spicier, they got a spicy mix for all his flavors. He has mango, cucumber. He has dill pickle, which I haven't tried, but I am waiting to try because I'm also a fan of pickles. I can guarantee you the cucumber one is superb. They're delicious. He makes them to order. You order during the week, you get them on the weekend. They also pair perfectly with the bombshell blonde from Southern Star and the Echo and Conroy from Southern Star. Don't just take my word for it. You guys need to try it out. So please, please, please go check out our new sponsor and sponsor of Pendejo of the Week, Miche Libre. That's MICHE_LIBRE on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Thank you.
I might need to check that out. Miche Libre. That sounds good. Like, do they deliver to Kentucky?
They're just starting, so I don't know.
Maybe a good, because if they do, like,
only.
if they end up doing it, let me know, because like I have a pretty good connect with Taco Madres, and like they're getting ready to start getting their alcohol license.
Oh,
so
shit.
they can start using
dope.
like a Miche Libre if they want to do that and help. It's easier for them to, instead of creating their own mix, to have set mixes already ready to go. Yeah. They do their aguas, like they do their own aguas. They do their birria from scratch, like, and like all their stuff. They do like ceviche. They do everything. They're only open Saturdays and Sundays, but like
Are they a food truck
look,
or they
they're
actually
food
like
truck.
joint? Oh,
They're a
okay.
food truck.
I
Yeah,
love
Taco
food truck,
Madres.
man. I
But
love.
like if you to those who do end up watching this, it's local Louisville.
Mhm.
Check out Taco Madres. They're like on the corner of Hurstbourne, or not corner of Hurstbourne, corner of Barstown Road, and only open Saturday and Sundays from 12 to about 3 o'clock because they sell out within like an hour and a half.
Damn, they're
So
that
just
good.
know that they're bomb,
Holy
especially when they're
shit.
fresh. Like you crunch into them, nice bite of the cheese. The beauty is really good. The
That's
consomme is really
perfect.
yummy.
Yeah.
It's good. Good Mexican spot. One of the better Mexican spots here in
Yeah.
Kentucky. If you've lived here, people know it ain't it.
That's
But
dope,
yeah,
dude. Yeah, but
let me know.
I definitely recommend it to anyone who lives in the greater Houston area.
Mhm.
They're really good. He, like I said, he makes the mix. He takes orders during the week, makes the mix Thursday and Fridays, and then you can either pick up or get them delivered on the weekend.
Hell yeah.
And their cucumber one, the spicy cucumber, that's my go-to. It goes perfectly with the Echo and Conroe and the Bombshell Blonde.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay, I may need to check this out.
Dude,
If they
when you
do end
come
up
down
delivering,
here, I'll make sure I get you a little care package made up with Bombshell Blondes, Micha Libre, some little
hell yeah.
air fresheners. You
That
know,
pickle one sounded real good, honestly.
yeah.
Like
I
I'll
know.
give it.
I'm excited to try it.
Yeah,
I'm really excited
but
to try it. And he told me he's working on a pineapple one as well. So that's gonna be dope.
piña.
Yeah.
Ooh,
That
that's gonna
piña?
be fire with a little bit of that chile. Like
Yeah.
that flavor of the michelada. Like,
And
like
then you put the tahine on the rim of the cup or the
hell
glass.
yeah. Like that's gonna partner really nicely, and you
Mhm.
could use any beer for that at that point. Like that's
Yep.
one of those like
You
as
can
long
even
as it's not
use
super
Topo
strong.
Chico. So
Yeah,
that's what tripped me out. You know, every now and then I like having a michelada without having the actual beer.
the actual alcohol and stuff in it too.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. Because you know, sometimes you want the taste of it, but you don't want the alcohol part.
yeah,
So you know, I'll put a Topo Chico in there. Oh my god, dude, the
I'm sure
mango
you can.
one is amazing. With
I'm
Topo
sure that'll
Chico.
make a bomb as Bloody Mary too. To be honest with you,
Yeah.
like on top of enchiladas, I just add vodka instead,
Mm-hmm.
and just like I bet you can make a bomb as Bloody Mary.
I'm sure you can. You know what? I'm gonna try that.
Yeah, let me know. Let me know how that comes out.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, when I get the care package, I got some Bombshell Blondes in the fridge, and I'm gonna record like a quick little cutscene of making the michelada and pouring everything together.
Hell yeah, hell
Be
yeah.
dope. Yeah, that way you know when I start cutting the segments for YouTube, that'll be like the ad for the YouTube channel.
That would be funny as fuck. I actually like that idea.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Hopefully it comes out good because I'm still working on video editing. I'm learning as I'm going.
You'll get there.
All right. So pendejo of the week, we have a couple suggestions.
Yes.
And yeah, like I see you threw two of them there. How about you tell us about your first suggestion right there?
So my first suggestion for a pendejo of the week is going to be the guy who basically locked us in the parking garage when we went to Washington D.C. Just it's a quick story. So basically, what happened is we had just gotten into Washington D.C. This was earlier this week, and we decided like, my Mac will sleep soon unless plugged into an outlet. Mind if I pause this real quick?
Yeah,
And I'm
let's go
good.
pause real quick.
We can jump right back in. Let me get the charger.
Go ahead.
Okay, so basically we had just gotten into DC, and we were looking for parking, and we're linking, at least in Houston, parking garages tend to be a little bit safer than like parking on the street downtown. For one, someone could hit your car. For two, it could get broken into a little easier, so on and so forth. So we're like, okay, we're just gonna go park in a parking garage. Well, let me tell you, DC parking garages are sketchy as hell.
Hey,
For one,
I'm sorry to interrupt, but can you untangle your mic?
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Better?
Yeah, that's better.
Okay, sorry about that.
It's all good.
Anyways,
I was making a lot of ruckus.
I was making a lot of noise. I got like an itch. There we go. Okay.
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. So basically, to put it in perspective, like we go into the parking garage, and the parking garage, when we get there, the meter says full. We're like, okay, they're out. Okay, we were late. Our bad, right? So we're leaving, and all of a sudden this guy comes out of nowhere, like out of the fucking shadows. Keep in mind it's like 9 o'clock at night, almost 10, so it's not that late, but it's late enough.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, you guys need to get into the parking garage, and we're like, like it says full. Like we're gonna dip, find some parking on the street, and call it a night. He's like, nah, it's not full. Like you're good. It's just wrong. So he opens up the parking garage, and like so we're able to go through. So we close it, and so as we're kind of pulling into the driveway, or I guess to pull into the parking, we see the guy like dipping, like he's like running from the other side. So I'm like, why is this guy running? Okay, weird. But so we park, and the first thing we notice is we try to go into the exit sign. Need a key card. We don't have a key card. Turns out it's for apartments specifically. So we try to go downstairs, and downstairs looks exactly the same as the upstairs, and it's only one floor, really, but it's like 2 floors, but it's literally only 1 floor. So we saw our car like literally like 5 feet up. So my wife starts freaking out. She's like, I'm never gonna get out of here. What if this guy closes in? He's gonna like beat us up, or he's gonna like try to stab us or rob us. And then we go upstairs, and that's also locked. So we're like, fuck, what are we gonna do? We were stuck in this garage, and like I noticed when we got there, he closed the damn garage. Like he closed it. Like so we were stuck in the garage.
Oh shit.
So yeah, it sucked. So we're like, okay, she's like, get me in the car. Get me in the car now. Like we're gonna get in there. We're gonna go, and we can just whatever, we'll get out of here. So we were able to get there. So we pull up to like where the metal is. And at first it doesn't move. So my wife gets out, and then it starts to finally raise. What we didn't account for is that he gave us the wrong ticket to actually scan out of the parking garage. So there's a parking garage, and then there's the actual like lever that goes up and down. Well, we were stuck at the lever, so we went up there, don't have the ticket to scan out. So we're like, oh no, what are we gonna do? So we're like, well, let's go back in the garage. We try to go back in the garage, it's closed. You can't get in it. So we're just like, fuck, what do we do? So we called the help desk. Help desk is like, okay, we're gonna call somebody. He's gonna call you. And the guy literally was trying to get out the whole time. Was like, oh, I live an hour away. I don't want to drive an hour. Like, can you guys like at least lift the thing? And I was like, no. What do you think? You can't lift the thing. It's made of it's for one, it's solid PVC pipe and like metal. 2, it's magnetized, so it's like specifically made so you can't get out. That's why it's there.
Yeah.
If people would just lift it, people would just do that. So like, no. So you drive your ass here and get here. So he gets there about an hour later. So we're waiting. My wife is literally sobbing at this point. She's like having a panic attack. I'm irritated and frustrated. And so he gets there. All of his keys to open up the thing are void, expired.
What?
And he's like, I'm sorry, I can't do anything for you. My wife starts losing her mind, and he starts getting kind of rude with her. And I'm just like, what do you want us to do? Like, and then he dips. Like he leaves, and we call a lady again. We're like, look, like we need somebody to let us out of this parking garage. And she's like, I just don't know if you're gonna have that luck. Like it's late in the middle of the night. You may just be stuck there for the night, and you may have to like leave your car there and come pick it up in the morning. And I was like, our first time in DC, and I gotta get up at 5 a.m. to go and like get this thing out of this garage. Like, okay, fine. Like, so we park it, and we finally like dip. And so as soon as we get to the hotel, I get a call, and the guy's like, hey, can you tell me what happened? Like, I'm the guy from one of the guys from the parking garage. I'm here to help you out. So he's like, he figures out what it was and where we are. He's like, okay, can you walk over to the garage? And we were like, I was about a 5-minute walk. So I was like, yeah, sure. So I walked over there. He presses a button from his house, opens up the garage. And so I'm able to actually get out.
Wow.
Then I park in the street. And luckily, like I found parking like right there, like really close to where our hotel was.
Dude, I was so pissed.
It was hell. It was hell. And I really still want to like file a formal complaint. On that parking garage. It was horrible. The experience was horrible. Like
I've been so pissed off.
Your on-call guy should have everything taken care of, and it was not. It was very unfortunate.
Yeah.
But that was really like the first piece of like our rest of our trip was great, but like that was bad.
That sucks. You know, one time, me and Dan got stuck in a parking garage, but it was because we were drunk and we didn't listen to Alex. Like, so we went to Alex from Passive Gravy. We went to his house to watch a UFC fight one time, right? And we had a blast. We were there, we were drinking, watching the fight. Everything was great. And then it was time to leave. So Alex told us, he's like, yeah, you're gonna walk out, make a left from the apartment if you don't want to take the stairs, and then about halfway through, you're gonna make a right, and the elevator's right there. He told us take it to the second floor, and we said, okay, we got this. Me or Dan did not hear second floor. We heard first floor.
Oh no!
First floor is parking garage. Now, where he lives, you need a key card for everything to get out the garage and in the garage with the card, right? So we didn't know this. We go down all the way to the parking garage, step out the elevator, and we're like, oh, we're in the parking garage. I'm sure we can just walk out. So we step out the little lobby for the elevator, and we realize it locks, and you need a key card to get back in there.
Oh no!
And we're like, fuck. And we're like, okay, well, we're in the parking garage. I'm sure there's just a gate where you can walk through. We walk up to the front of the parking garage, and there's a door, there's a gate, but you need a key card to get out.
Oh god!
And the actual
you had a similar experience to me. I'm so glad I didn't have the only one to experience that.
We were stuck in the parking garage, right? And we're calling Alex. My phone dies. So then Dan starts calling Alex, and he's not answering because he's getting ready for bed or something. We were up all night drinking. This is like maybe like 1 o'clock in the morning.
And once you're drunk, if you're really drunk and you go to bed, you're not getting up.
Yeah, and we're walking around this parking garage trying to find a way out, and nothing. Like you literally need a key card to get in or out of that place. Even to get out the door, you need a key card. So we couldn't get out the gate where the cars drive through. We couldn't get out through the walkway gate. Everything like it was like underground, right? But you can see the grass and stuff outside. Everything was fenced off.
Oh my god!
There was gates everywhere, and I legit like for a second I was like, oh, "Holy shit, we're gonna have to stay here tonight.
We're gonna die."
Yeah, like we're gonna die. We're gonna have to wait at the gate till someone pulls in.
Dude, that's horrible.
And then the gate, there's space above it, right? So we're like, okay, well, maybe we can climb the gate and jump over. So we climbed up, and we realized that on the very top of the gate, it looked like enough space, but there wasn't enough space for us, our fat asses, to go over. Because you had the ceiling.
Oh god!
So we were legit stuck there. And we kept calling Alex. Like we called him probably for 20 minutes, and he finally answered. And he's like, "Oh fuck, you guys got out the parking garage. I told you the second floor." And he ended up having to walk all the way down from his apartment, ride the elevator down, and tell us we were waiting for him right outside the lobby. He opened the lobby door, took us to the second floor, and we got out. But the whole ordeal took probably about an hour before we can get a hold of him. It was horrible. Jesus. We were so pissed off, man. We were pissed off at ourselves for putting ourselves in that situation. And then
I would have been absolutely
because he had to wake up and go downstairs and save us.
Oh my god.
We were so embarrassed too.
I would have been losing my mind.
Yeah, we literally tried to crawl out of any space we could find, and there was no space that was open. It was fucking horrible.
That's so frustrating.
So you definitely aren't the only person stuck in a parking garage.
Really glad to hear that because I was super embarrassed. We were both super embarrassed.
Right? It's the shittiest feeling when the person that's finally going to get you out, they show up and they're just looking at you like, you dumbass.
Idiots. How'd you do this? And I was just like, well, at first the guy was like, lost ticket. He's like, you can just press the lost ticket button at the front of the thing and it'll do it. And I was like, oh shit, yeah, we could have did that. But then it was like, I don't want to pay for that.
Yeah. Yeah. It was what, like an extra $10?
Yeah. It was like it was $15 to park there. Come here, Balto. My wife definitely opened the door. She's like, the dog is definitely coming to want to hang out with me. Come on.
There he is. It's funny because of the background. He kind of blends in with the background.
He does. This is Balto. We can't really see him, but he's there. Yeah. Let me see if I can grab a blanket for him because then he's gonna slump. You can keep it on record. Okay. I'm just gonna grab a blanket real quick for him because then he'll sleep.
Well, besides that guy being our pendejo of the week, we also have another pendejo of the week, and it's actually two people.
Yes.
They are our future VPs, soon to be VPs, Kamala Harris and Mike Pence. And that was a horrible fucking debate.
It was terrible. It was just so okay. So for the first thing, when we talk about moderators, what was the moderator doing? Why was she there at that point? Because none of them were listening.
I don't know.
Like, if anything, like Chris Wallace from the Trump Biden debate was much better, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because he at least was like, look, like
I didn't understand why he got so much shit because he did the best he possibly could with Trump and Biden.
he got shit. For one, he's a conservative.
Mm-hmm.
For two, he's also a conservative who happens to be very critical of Trump.
Yeah.
So for one, he's not liked by the right because he's very critical of Trump. He's also not liked by the left because he's conservative.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, you know, you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. But I thought he did a great job personally. I thought he was super like non-biased, super bipartisan.
Yeah, I for sure. He was very neutral when it came to the way he ran it. So that's why I'm like, I don't understand why he got so much hate when he did probably the best job he could have done with those two people.
Yeah, I thought the other lady for the Pence Kamala debate was very like, she was really like passive.
Yeah, dude, I felt watching that debate. I felt like I was watching a baseball game on TV. Yeah. Like I can't watch baseball on TV. I get so bored. I sleep and wake up and see what inning we're in, and that's how I felt during the whole VP debate.
They're also both cretins in their own way. Like they're both shitty people. They're not great individuals. You know, like if you want to take a look at some of the things Kamala Harris has done in terms of like the criminal justice system in California, like you can, it's all there. It's all there.
Yeah. Everything's there.
She's put a lot of people in jail for really minor drug offenses for a long time. He's laughed about it.
Yep. Yeah.
You know, and then Pence on the other side is very classic conservative. He's very.
Am I the only one that thinks Pence looks like a serial killer? Like he could be a serial killer?
My wife said that.
He literally looks like someone that would purge.
He does look like a purge.
He has the purge guy aesthetic. Especially that white hair, dude. That hair is so perfectly white.
Because it's slicked back to the side. Very
And his face his face is so dry and like emotionless that I am convinced he has at least one body under him.
He has he looks like a reptile.
Yeah. No, I'm saying he has he's killed at least one person.
Oh, maybe it's definitely.
I have a feeling. I have a feeling he's pulled the trigger once or twice.
He's interesting. He's an interesting individual.
Yeah.
But like he's just boring at the same time. Like he's more presidential, I think, than like Trump is. Yeah. But with that being said, like I still don't agree with a lot of his personal policies and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know. I just don't think either of them are a good fit for what we need.
Honestly, at this point, I feel like we should just roll dice and see who it lands on. Because both, well, at least, you know, on the bipartisanship side, right? Mm-hmm. Bipartisanship, there's only two parties. Obviously, we have a green, libertarian, and all that. But with the choices we have right now, I don't see a good choice either way. They all have their goods, but they also have a lot of bads.
And we had this. We were talking about it, like in terms of like, you know, the Trump versus Biden thing. Like, I don't think either of them are really good for the country in terms of what we need.
No.
That being said, like I tend to agree more of Biden's policies right now at this moment in time, just because I think that there are some things that, like, you know, for instance, privatized healthcare. I like privatized healthcare, which is a very conservative thing to like. But I'm also okay with people having the ability to get Medicare and Medicaid for all. Yeah. Like I think everybody should have the ability to get that, but
I agree.
Also have the ability to keep their private insurance, which I like my private insurance. I like working for a company who provides me that.
Yeah. I agree there.
So it's like a mixed kind of bag because I like.
Yeah, I'm so stuck in between, dude. Like I honestly, I like some policies Trump has. I like some policies Biden has, but there's a lot of shit I don't like on either side.
I mean, I like what Trump's done for prison reform in terms of like actual like. I mean, he really has like working with Kanye West, despite what people say. Like he has actually pushed for release of a lot of felons.
Yeah.
That actually haven't really been in these massive crimes. Like, they've either been falsely accused or they've been drug crimes.
Yeah.
So he has done a lot in terms of that, and then working directly with like, you know, Kanye West, Kim Kardashian, and like other people who you would say like aren't really like political figures that you would ever want to have.
Yeah.
But that's a good thing if they're doing.
Yeah. Honestly, I might get some shit for this, but I think Trump has done the best he could with this situation, not being a politician. I mean, obviously he says some wild, crazy shit, or you're just like, oh, like, really? Did that come out your mouth? You're supposed to be the president.
Yeah.
But if you look at his track record, he hasn't done horrible.
No,
The
I
only
agree
thing
with you
that's
on
gonna
that.
the only thing that really is gonna tarnish him is the fact that he says wild, crazy shit, and
Well,
two, he's had to go through a pandemic.
he's also blatantly said a lot of incorrect things. I think is another thing too. Like we've had this conversation. I think like in terms of like the president, he's not the worst we've ever had. I think that would go to like Nixon, for instance, with the whole Watergate scandal.
Yeah,
Which don't get me wrong, he's definitely had his fair share of scandals. Like that whole Stormy Daniels scandal was, scandal was big. And then of course we can talk about Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell maybe on a different podcast, but that's nuts. And the fact that he may be somewhat affiliated with that is interesting. And I would love to hear more once they do finally release those from Ghislaine Maxwell, but she probably already dead, to be honest.
Yeah. No, yeah, I am interested in that because I've dug into it a little bit for another episode we did in the past where it was more of a conspiracy table talk more than like it was just us trying to bring light into a situation, especially with the whole Save the Children movement and all that. And we looked into it, and even though Trump is on the list for some of those things, he's been very against that guy for a while.
Yeah. If you look at some of the stuff in the history books, or in history, he has removed himself from that.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean he isn't guilty of some of the things that he's accused of, but it does show that he did cut ties at one point, and there may have been a genuine reason for it.
Yeah. Yeah. And obviously it also shows why there's if that's a situation why he cut ties, I'm sure that's also a reason why a lot of politicians and stuff don't like him. Since a lot of them are tied in to this, or allegedly tied into this.
He's very controversial. He has his issues. I personally don't care for him very much. I don't think he'd ever have my vote, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But I see why people like him.
Yeah.
And I understand that. I'm not one of those people who are going to blindly be like, oh, he's the devil. Like, I mean, there's been plenty of other conservatives who have been way worse.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, he's like I said, I think he's doing the best he can for the fact that he's not a politician. Obviously, he does spread a lot of false information.
And that the whole thing specifically with COVID, only because he said a lot of things right before like more has come out. And so like that's the whole debacle with like the mask mandate stuff. Like masks shouldn't be a political debate. It should be a health concern.
Exactly.
Like people should be definitely wearing their masks, in my opinion.
Yeah, like, I completely agree with you. It's not the mask specifically is not just for you; it's for everyone around you, right?
Yeah, it's not for you specifically. Actually, it doesn't protect you at all. It protects everyone else around you.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
it's like, why not wear your mask?
Exactly. Do your own due diligence and kind of like do it. In my opinion, like conservative, liberal, it doesn't matter. Like,
it doesn't matter what side you're on. Fucking wear the mask.
That's my thought. I think it's silly that people are actually making it a political thing. But
honestly, I think
what it is.
This year and pretty much since Trump went into office, everything's been politicized to the most extreme situations. Like this shit that should not be politics.
No. This should be a general health concern for everyone involved, and people should be. And of course, you have people who don't like to listen.
Yeah,
and it really shows the whole thing of like if a zombie apocalypse did actually happen, for instance, like
how many people would die?
Some people are gonna be hiding them. Some people are gonna be hiding them bites that they're getting.
Yeah, and they're gonna the whole squad up.
You know what I mean? Like. It's unfortunate, but I mean, we'll see what happens, I guess. Like I said, I have my issues with Biden too. I think Biden is also very career politician. I think he is very I just don't think he's a good fit, to be completely honest. I don't really like some of his stances. Like he's back for everyone. I'm not for the Green New Deal. I work in oil and gas. Green New Deal, not my thing.
Yeah.
He's been actively for it, but now he's turning back and saying he's not for it. So I need that to be clear before I make a decision on what I want to do.
You don't want someone that's wishy-washy and shit like that.
Yeah, exactly, because to me that's a little too like liberal left. Like it's not my personal favorite thing. I'm not a fan of like AOC or anything. Like my wife loves Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, I do not care for her.
I asked someone about that, like, because I find AOC, like, the way I see AOC is I see her like a college student, right?
She's a strong woman. Don't get me wrong. She's a very strong woman, and
yeah, not knocking her, but her thought process is very college student-esque,
she's
right?
still young. She's still young. Like,
and
that's how I see it too, though.
yeah, and someone on Twitter fucked me up with this, but they're like, AOC is like the politician for college students. She's fighting for things college students strive to get because they haven't reached that workforce yet.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
They don't understand that concept of
they haven't had all these concepts of struggle and whatnot.
They don't understand trickle down effect a lot of the time too. Like, of course, everyone wants like a healthier world, a healthier planet to live on. But you take away oil and gas, for instance, you're also taking away millions of jobs from people.
Exactly.
Which also, to keep in mind, oil and gas are actively already, specifically in my company, they're already working on renewable resources and renewable energy. It's already happening behind the scenes.
Yeah,
it's not something that like needs to happen. It's already happening.
Yeah, I agree. I 100% agree with that.
There's things like that I'm like, I don't know if this is the best choice because there's a lot of radical left people that I just don't agree with. Like, I'm not
that's what I don't like, the radicalism.
Right or left. I'm not an Alex Jones fan either, or like a
I like people that are willing to sit down with another person and speak on why they see it this way.
That's why I love Joe Rogan.
I love Joe Rogan, dude. I absolutely love that Joe Rogan does his best to stay neutral. He's not always neutral, but he does his very best to.
Especially in marijuana, he's not neutral on marijuana at all. He's very like straightforward.
Yeah,
how he feels about that, which is fine.
Yeah,
I think it's good to have good to stick with one thing, but understand why you're doing it. Like, I think that's what a lot of people lack.
Yeah.
They have this like, I need this to happen, but then you ask them why, and they can't give you that.
Or like, with AOC and they want
certain things
done, but they don't think about the long run on how it affects everyone else.
The long-term repercussions.
Yeah, like,
look at electric cars right now, for instance. Like, Tesla's a great company. Don't get me wrong,
amazing company.
But take a look at the recalls they've already been doing and dealing with. Take a look at the fatalities per vehicle that have been happening. It has happened. And the fact that it has happened is something that people should be paying attention to.
Yeah.
And the amount of recalls. It's not ready. It's not time yet.
Yeah. And I mean, the other thing as well is like, they're saying electric cars are cleaner. But look at everything that it takes to charge that car, to make that battery. You probably pollute twice as much than what it takes to drive a diesel truck, for example.
Exactly.
And
it's like the argument between taking a bath and taking a shower. It's like taking a shower is actually better for the environment than taking a bath, but people will tell you that taking a bath is because like the water sits, but you're actually using more gallons than taking a shower.
Yeah.
So it's like a thing.
Yeah, I don't know, man. There's too much shit.
But yeah, so overall, like Pendejo of the Week, Mike Pence and Kamala Harris, I think did a horrible job. I don't think they're good representations for what the country needs. I think we can do better. I think third parties are something we should be looking at. We should be paying attention to Joe Jorgensen from the Libertarian Party. We should be paying attention to the Green New Party as well, even if we disagree.
The Green Party, do you know?
I could look that up right now.
Yeah, because I've been wanting to listen to some of Joe Jorgensen's policies and stuff, but I haven't gotten into it because I've been busy with other things. But I don't even know who the Green Party candidate is.
It's Howie Hawkins. I don't know him personally because he really hasn't made an effort to really get out there or put himself out there, but Joe Jorgensen really has been.
Yeah.
And she's somebody that I think would be a perfect median. Like, there's some things that I actively disagree with Joe Jorgensen on too.
Yeah.
But like, I lean closer to what her views are than I do like Biden's or Trump's.
Yeah. That's how I felt when we had the previous election. Gary Johnson, yeah.
He was a Green Party. He was Green Party. He wasn't Libertarian.
No, he was Libertarian.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
I think you're probably right, actually.
He was Libertarian. I do remember this because I
think you might be right.
I felt like for me personally, I felt like he was the best option. He could never get enough eyes on him to really spread his message.
I just like the idea, like when it comes to Libertarian Party ideas of like the states handling a lot more and the federal government being less involved.
Yeah.
I think like where I differ is like, I think like the federal government should be involved in education, like specifically, because I think education should be at equal playing fields for everybody,
Yeah.
unless they're willing to pay for like private schools, things like that.
Yeah.
But I think like the person, like let's say, from the hood of like Compton should be able to have the same education as somebody, from like, the nice part of Manhattan. Should be the same.
Yeah. That's a good point to make. I hated that when I went from California. I was actually a grade ahead in California, and when I moved here, because I didn't have Texas history.
It's funny because Texas has a really good like school district, but California is a really good one.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because California is all kinds of fucked up in other ways.
Oh, dude, California is it's a shit show down there.
I mean,
but see, that's another example of people doing things without weighing the overall repercussion of it.
Right? And look at the homeless problem they had there, like especially like in LA.
The homeless problem, poverty numbers are just they've skyrocketed in the past couple of years.
And it's something that people need to. That's why I think if you even doing this, like putting a Republican and a Democrat in the same ticket and having them run together, even though like they'd be differing in a lot of issues, they could work together to make something really good. Dude, and it wouldn't be just middle of the ground.
Yeah. I wonder how it would be if, like, let's say in future instances, like, you have your candidates running. How trippy would it be if they were forced to work together? Like, let's say the winner takes presidency and the loser takes VP.
I would love that. It actually used to be a case during George Washington up until Jefferson's. Like, I learned this because of Hamilton, actually. So if you've never seen Hamilton, watch it.
Yeah, definitely recommend it.
Yeah. So after Jefferson won, Aaron Burr wanted to be the vice president, but Jefferson was like, no. He still was vice president, but after Jefferson left, he changed the rules so that way it could be same person on the ticket. So like a Republican, Democratic, Republican, a Democrat, a Republican, and a Federalist, and a Federalist, versus a Democratic, Republican, and a Federalist on the same ticket. Yeah. The loser basically winning, taking the VP seat.
I think that was such a great concept, dude, to be honest, because, well, the way I see politics right now, like, I was never into politics until these past 4 years.
I mean, this is definitely the time to get into them.
Yeah. And, politics are such a shit show. I think everyone has gotten into them these past couple of years, especially this year, this election year. I see more people talking politics than ever before. But the way I see it, dude, is like there's no balance in politics right now.
It's either...
It's too bipartisan. Yeah.
It's too partisan, honestly. It's very like one side is either all one side or it's all the other side. And it's not centered. It's not bipartisan. Like,
I hate that, dude. I absolutely hate that. I wish there was more of a balance. That way, conflicting ideas could become a better thing, because now you'll have both sides, the one side thinking of all the outcomes, and then the one side of thinking of all the good things that they're trying to push. Rather than
just conversation pushes change.
Yeah.
You have conversations, you talk, and you do things. Like, that's what pushes change. Like, having people just, no, this is not the way to do this, and no, this is not the way to do this, but not provide anything to actually help doesn't change anything.
Yeah,
I agree. You're basically speaking into the air.
I agree.
That's what you're doing. Like,
that's how I feel about Nancy Pelosi.
I'm not a fan of Nancy Pelosi.
Like, honestly, that's my pendejo of the week. From all the shit she's done, and from the shit I read, not a fan at all.
Her and Trump do this a lot.
Yeah, and that's what, like, the whole thing that I was saying, I was like, it's too, one side's here, one side's here. There's no
middle ground
between.
And it's funny because there is middle ground in politics that are there right now. Like, if I recommend checking out this HBO. It's on HBO Max. You may be able to catch it on regular HBO, but it's called Drain the Swamp.
Okay.
And it's a show about lobbyist power within politics, and it's like Republicans and Democrats fighting to stop taking lobbyist money in order to fund campaigns. And that's what they're pushing for. And that's the one bipartisan thing they're doing right now, is to work on closing that. So like, even Republicans like that were doing that, were like, look, like, say what you want about like Bernie Sanders or AOC, but they're not taking that lobbyist money and they're still maintaining the numbers they are.
Yeah.
Like, we could be doing that and like not having to actually base our opinions and our push stuff based on what lobbyists say.
Yeah.
Because lobbyists have a lot of power in politics right now.
Yeah, they do. Yes, they do.
Yeah. It's something to like think about. And I definitely recommend, if you haven't seen it, definitely give that a watch. It's worth it. It's very interesting.
Okay, yeah, I'll definitely check it out. Drain the Swamp. Drain the Swamp.
Yeah.
I'm definitely gonna look for
Yeah. It was definitely a good, and it was very bipartisan. Like it wasn't,
Mhm.
this the Republicans are evil or the Democrats are evil. It was like very middle ground. Both
You know,
Democrats and Republicans working together.
yeah, that's one thing. My girlfriend told me about Vice documentaries.
Uh-huh.
They, I like that they tend to stay kind of neutral in what they're showing for the most part. Not every now and then they'll teeter a little bit, but for
There's
the
certain
most part,
hosts. There's
yeah.
certain hosts that are like very like there's one like LGBT host,
Mhm.
like she's a Hispanic girl,
Oh
and
yeah,
she
yeah,
did the Latinx conservatives versus Democrats.
yeah,
It was really biased toward like the
yeah,
Democrats,
yeah, yeah,
which they didn't really let anybody get a word in. She would constantly cut them off, things like
yeah.
that. But
But
that one guy,
the documentaries, for the most part, they're like
are
pretty
so good.
pretty down the middle. They do
Yeah,
a
they
very
are
good
actually.
job on trying to stay down the middle and showing both sides. And I'm a
I would
fan of
agree with
that.
that.
Yeah,
I would agree. I love Vice documentaries in general. They're
yeah,
just
yeah,
all quality.
yeah,
You get some good stuff there.
yeah, yeah.
But yeah,
They're special. But yeah. So yeah, my pendejo of the week was Nancy Pelosi because she she's doing the most.
helping not push the stimulus bill forward.
Yeah, dude. Oh my god, that shit pissed me off because I was reading into it, right, and I've been following what's going on with the stimulus bill because I was
Mhm.
like, they've been voting on it for like 2 months, and apparently there's a couple bills where, what is it, the House? It's all Democratic, right? So there
Yeah,
was a couple bills where the entire House agreed on, but Pelosi did not refuse to sign off on it because it wasn't the perfect bill for her.
yeah. Which is like I will say, I will argue is to a point fair because it needs to pass the Senate also, and the Senate is majority Republican.
Yeah,
So like
but
you're gonna have to fully unanimously pass the Senate also. So like that's the issue that a lot of people see there, and it's because both Trump and so when the House is working on a bill,
yeah,
they're gonna add little things too here and
yeah,
there because the stimulus bill.
but
Let's be honest, it's not about us. It doesn't
no,
matter. It's about pushing politics.
yeah,
So like what they're gonna do is add small things in order to push that. So the
hmm,
Senate's job is to go through that, and and the House's job is to go through that and see
yeah,
like, no, not here, not
yeah.
here, not time
But
for that.
there was points where the entire House was like, okay, like this is what we want. Let's
We're gonna
pass
bail
this.
out airlines. We're
And
gonna look
Pelosi
at
was
it.
just like, nope.
Yeah, I hate that too.
Like that shit pissed me off because that shows you that she's not willing to compromise.
Exactly. And I didn't like that Trump was playing the same game though,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
he did
Well,
that.
obviously, both of them are playing this stupid fucking game where they're not
And
compromising with each other. They're, instead of working together, they're like, it's either me or it's you.
it's a political game of chess, really, in a lot of ways too, because
It
what they're
is.
doing is he's saying like, oh, I'm not gonna push for this, but what he's really saying is that like Republicans will push for that.
Mm-hmm.
It's really more of a betting tool because he's
Yeah.
like, oh, we're not gonna do it till after the election. Well, that's not gonna really happen. What's gonna really happen is like they're gonna come up with something. It's either gonna be
Mm-hmm.
him pushing it, which is gonna help his campaign,
Yeah.
or it's gonna be them finally compromising and pushing something out as fast as they can,
Yeah.
which could be rushed, which could be bad if we're not
Yeah.
careful.
Yeah. Honestly, I think they're gonna legitimately try to delay it. Like they're gonna put
Mm-hmm.
things in that bill to kind of just detour the path of it getting approved. That's
They
the
just
way
don't
I
care
see
about us. That's what it
it.
is. They care about politics. That's what it matters.
Yeah. And
Their
that
job.
also brings me to, how before we started, I told you I have a slight conspiracy theory.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm convinced, I could be completely wrong, but from what Nancy Pelosi, that bill she fuck, she didn't pass it. She proposed the bill of the president being incompetent,
Mm-hmm.
where they can kick him out. So
Yeah, the
I'm
impeachment and
convinced,
stuff.
yeah, I'm convinced that's their plan. They're gonna try to push Biden, push him to win. And if he wins, they're gonna pull out that wild card. They're gonna be like, "Oh, you're incompetent. Kamala Harris is president now."
Thinking
I
the
could
same
be,
thing. Actually,
I could
I was
be
actually
completely
thinking the same
wrong,
thing.
but the way I see it, like they're pretty much fucking planning this perfectly.
I just think Biden's old. I just think he's the oldest. He would be technically the oldest
Yeah.
president.
And I think that's why they chose Kamala Harris, right? Because
Young gun, potentially like she's kind of a moderate in some things, but really left on others.
yeah,
So she's moderate when it comes to criminal justice stuff, which is starting to come out more. It's
mm-hmm.
very less. You can tell she's very fake on a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
So pay attention, Democrats. You need to be paying attention to that, regardless of what you think. Like, you need to be looking at the way Kamala handles things, because do you really want that as a president or a potential vice president if
Yeah.
Biden takes a seat? Just put
I
that
mean,
out
that's what
there.
we're gonna think, right? If Biden shits the bed, Kamala Harris will be our president.
He's next in line, yeah. So
Yeah.
something to think about.
Yeah.
And the same thing with Trump. If Trump, for some reason, something happens to him, if he doesn't listen again, he gets sick again, and he
We got
dies
Pence.
this time. You have Pence. So you need to like think about that and make sure you understand, like, this could potentially happen. So you have to be able to willingly think about all of these factors before you vote. Voting is super important.
Yeah, early voting in Texas starts tomorrow, the 13th.
So go vote. You can. Yeah. By the time you see this, it'll probably be next week. So, you know, if you're listening to this and you haven't voted, go vote.
Video-wise, you might see it next week.
Yeah.
Audio-wise, it'll probably go up within the next couple of days, to be honest.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah. Yeah, video takes a bit longer to edit.
All good. But on top of that topic, I guess before we cut it off, I know we were going to talk about the Breonna Taylor situation, but maybe we can table that for another one, because I know it's getting kind of late.
Yeah.
But I did want to talk about voting and why voting is important, and why also not voting is also just as important.
Yep.
I am under the impression that personally, if you don't want to vote and you don't feel comfortable in a candidate and you don't feel like you should vote, that's your right, 100%. And you should be able to do that without getting hassled by either side.
Yeah.
Because people will tell you, third party, or if you don't vote, that a vote or no vote is a vote for the opposing.
No, that's not
what they're going to tell you. Both sides
no
of the
vote is a no vote.
Exactly.
What I recommend is checking your local elections. Absolutely. Those are more important to you. Those you actually choose. Because I'm also convinced presidential elections they're already chosen. I mean, they're chosen by the electoral college. It's not us.
You want real substantial change within your cities and within your towns?
Yeah.
Start with the state and local.
Yep.
That's how you're going to get things taken care of. Definitely vote for state and local. But for the presidential, if you don't feel comfortable, don't let anybody tell you any different. I don't care if I get shit for this.
Yep.
You don't have to.
No, I agree.
You don't have to. And like, some people will say, "Oh, you're a hypocrite if you don't do this and you can't speak on this." No, you have every right to continue to criticize until there's a right time for you to feel like you need to vote.
Yep.
So that's just my piece on it.
Choose what benefits you. Don't let anyone force you to choose anybody. And if you can't decide, don't vote.
Yeah. And then wait for the next session.
Yeah, scratch it.
Do your research and
do all the next research.
And make sure that when you do vote, it's a decision that you made, not a decision someone made for you.
It's like Charlemagne the God said, vote your interest. That's the most important thing. Vote your interest and hope for the best. But also, don't be scared to talk to people of the opposing side. Hear everybody out.
Absolutely. Hear everybody out. Learn to understand, like, people are going to have different opinions than you, even if they're on the same side as you.
Yep.
So being able to understand that and have conversations with people, even if they're uncomfortable conversations, will benefit your decision-making going forward.
Yep, I agree.
So, I heard that.
Well said. Well said, Kyle. All right, do you got enough time to just rush through the last segment?
Yeah.
Okay. This is a new segment. Sort of new. I've been trying to get it kicked off, but I haven't had nobody tweet me back yet.
All good.
But it's a new segment. It's called Keep It or Yeet It, where you have different suggestions and you decide whether it's good enough to keep or you just eat that shit.
Okay.
All right.
Cool.
All right. First one. It's cyber strip clubs. Out in East Hollywood, some strippers noticed that there were no customers because of the coronavirus. So they created a website and started their own cyber strip club. Keep it.
I'm gonna say keep it, because I'm all for people making money any way they need to. And I think that's people thinking outside the box.
Really?
And I think that's really smart. I think if you're personally, in my opinion, like OnlyFans is the thing, for instance, like it's a thing that's been pushing and a lot of people making a lot of money off of that, even if it's not necessarily sexual.
Yep.
So think about that if you're ever looking for uncensored content or trying to make uncensored content.
The Weekly D podcast at one point had a weekly OnlyFans.
Yeah.
But I got kicked off of OnlyFans.
happens to the best of us. How did that even happen?
Honestly, I don't even remember. I think I tried to get something for free. And like my bank blocked, because you gotta add your bank card to it. My bank blocked the transaction of $1 that OnlyFans does to make sure you're a legit person.
Yeah.
So it blocked it, and they canceled my account because they thought I was scamming someone.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That sucks.
But
But yeah, no, like to go off of that though, I think like it's a really smart thing to do. Like, granted, people will say like, oh, that's sexualizing women. That's what they
hey,
want to do for a career. Then they have every right to do that as a career. And I think if they're thinking
yeah.
outside the box, thinking smart, then
Hmm.
that saves them the trouble of dealing with dealing with hassling guys
Hmm.
who continuously are kind of assholes. You get those there. The strip
Yeah.
club, they can all do it all, man, like all from the comfort of their
Yeah.
home, so they don't need to leave their home.
You don't gotta worry about people touching you or doing some nasty shit to you.
So I think I
Honestly,
keep it.
though, I eat it.
Yeah. How come?
Simply because they're wasting money on a website when OnlyFans already exists.
That's a very good point. That's a very good, because they can be utilizing that.
Yeah, like why not use OnlyFans?
Granted,
And links to your Instagram and all that. You get you a link tree, link everything to OnlyFans. You make the money. You get your tax records, so you don't run into problems with the IRS at the end of the day. You actually get a paycheck. Why spend extra money on a website?
I guess Bella Thorne kind of fucked a little bit of that up. It used to be a lot better of a deal.
Yeah,
you get paid. You used to get paid weekly. Now you get paid monthly, which sucks.
But you can still make racks.
But you can still make quite a bit of money.
Yeah,
like a monthly check could be still just as much.
I know quite a bit of people that we went to high school with that have them, and
I know one specifically that
I message them from time to time on their Instagram, but just asking them questions like how the economic side of it goes. Obviously, my girlfriend always wants to kick my ass whenever I forget to tell her, hey, I messaged this person for this, because she's always like, whoa, what the fuck? She has OnlyFans. Why are you? But that's a whole nother story. But anyways, I've been talking. I asked them every now and then, like, how's the economic side of it, and all of them say they can't complain. So, and me personally, I'm all for, if you want to use your sexuality to make money, go for it. Kudos to you.
Who would be a great person for this, like to have this conversation with too? Jamie Lee G.
Yeah.
Because she's just I think she's the most open about that kind of stuff, and she's really cool in general.
Yeah. So I wanted to do something, but I gotta get permission from my girlfriend before she tells me.
Well,
the original idea of the Weekly D being on OnlyFans was that it was gonna be a strictly explicit podcast over OnlyFans.
That's what we were gonna do too with the roundtable. We wanted to kind of like all our censored content, we would censor our podcast, and then the uncensored podcast plus like no deleted scenes, things like that, would all be on the OnlyFans. So there would be actual content.
So that's kind of the idea I had, but it was gonna be completely different, right? It was gonna be the Weekly D, but it was gonna be the first idea I ever had of the Weekly D, which was like to have people that work in the sex worker field on the podcast. But for that one, I gotta get permission from my girlfriend because I don't want to stir shit up.
Insane. But like I think she would be interesting if you were able to get that permission, because she's a local person from from Rosenberg.
Yeah.
She's super chill. Like she's always been like a really cool person as long as I've known her, even before she was doing that stuff. And I think she has probably gotten the closest in terms of like a really good idea of the economic status of multiple websites.
I know this girl. She went to Foster. I'm not gonna say her name because I don't know if she wants to report.
I may not know her,
but this girl became one of the top 20 creators on OnlyFans.
That's impressive.
Yeah, very impressive. And all I gotta say is, like, this past 2 months that she's been really pushing it, she's been taking some wild trips. She's been to Colorado, to California, because I follow her on Instagram. She's been like to all these places, having extravagant trips and stuff. And I'm just like, you gotta be making money.
And that's my whole thing. If you're making money off of it and it's not hurting anybody,
enjoy it. Obviously, know that whatever goes on the internet is going to stay on the internet forever.
So if you're trying to look for a career,
I personally know that from experience, from my wild days where I decided to be a porn star. Yeah, those things still pop up every now and then and haunt me. But
those death threats. Or not the death threats, but I'm gonna leak it all.
Yeah. Which, I mean, I've gotten quite a bit of those over the years, and every time they do that, I'm just like, okay, just leak it.
Do it.
You're not gonna get money out of me for that. If you're gonna leak it. What's the worst that can happen?
Facts.
Yeah. But yeah, so OnlyFans, definitely a keep.
OnlyFans is a keep. So I'm gonna still keep my keep on that though. I just think like if you can think of something outside of the box, you do you. Multi-market, like not multi-marketing, but you have to have competition in any kind of field. So multiple websites could be a good potential thing. Competition is healthy, so it shows a business is growing. So that's a thing.
That is true. You make a good point. I was thinking about it economically wise. I was like, you
can make some more money from that. But if you have a solo site, you don't have to pay taxes, like in terms of like,
but
not taxes, but
your
site
bookkeeping
costs
has to be on point because all those transactions are electronic. So
you need to make sure you got your tax people on point and hire a tax.
That's what I'm saying. OnlyFans does it for you.
There you go. Imagine being Jim from Tax who works at OnlyFans.
All right. Next one, because I know it is getting late. Borat number 2. Keep it or eat it. Have you seen the trailer?
I didn't even watch the first Borat, to be completely honest. I'm going to say eat it.
Okay.
I've never been a massive fan of like Borat or Sacha Baron Cohen. I think Ali G is great.
Ali G was great. His other characters there, hit or miss. For me, Bruno is the funniest one, but
Bruno is that's the gay construction worker, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Bruno's pretty funny.
That one was hilarious.
But Borat for me has always been kind of. I watched like clips of it and like little pieces here and there, and it's never been my thing.
Okay, all right. So yeet Borat too. Okay, cool. I was gonna eat it too. I watched the trailer. I was like, oh, this is gonna be stupid as shit.
I just don't think a sequel anyway for like one of those types. It's like making Napoleon Dynamite too. You just don't ever.
Really, those movies rely so much on shock value. I don't know how you can make a sequel.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Especially in this day and age.
Yeah. Okay, last one. J Balvin doing his collab with McDonald's.
Eat that shit. I think everybody's got to eat. I think Travis Scott is a genius in terms of marketing. I think J Balvin has definitely been able to not only do that, piggyback on that, but it's a good representation for the Latin community. I think it's a good thing to show that like even in America, like, you know, people that for the most part, like I think J Balvin's he's from Puerto Rico, if I'm not mistaken. So he's pretty fluent in English too, if I'm not mistaken. But, you know, J Balvin's really doing good things for the Latin community. And, you know, I think it's a really good thing. I think it's good to see that and that type of representation at that level.
Yeah, for sure.
It shows America is changing in a good, positive way.
Dude, culture is changing. Like you notice that the Hispanic culture is starting to get their come up now. Like we're integrating with Afro culture, and it's becoming such a beautiful melting pot there. With
and then Korean culture is doing its own thing.
Yeah,
and that's going to be big in the next year or so.
Oh yeah,
like K-pop's already massive.
Yeah,
like with Blackpink, you know, Big Bang, like those are massive groups that are popular in America.
Yeah,
you know, and those they I mean, they're making they're winning Grammys now, and like you would have never seen that 5 years ago.
Yep.
It's what's going to happen. So
that's true.
So for those communities, it's great to see America moving forward for stuff like that.
Yeah. So would you eat the Big Mac with no pickles, fries, and with ketchup, and an Oreo McFlurry? Does that sound like a appetizing meal to you?
I think I keep it. It's not the best meal. Like I'm a spicy nug guy. Yeah. So I think spicy nugs are going to be my choice regardless. Like nuggets in general are going to be my choice at McDonald's regardless. But
if you had to make your own celebrity meal, what would it be?
I'm going to go with spicy nugs.
Okay.
I'm going to go with a large fry with ranch and buffalo sauce.
Ooh, I like the mix.
So you can do the double dip on the fries. You don't need them for the nuggets unless you want to dip the ranch. Yeah. And then that would go with a large Coke.
Okay.
And then I would tap that probably on in terms of like a dessert. Fried apple pie, the classic fried apple pie, the one they used to do when you threw it in and had the bubbles popping out. Like, and it was one of those with a dab of whipped cream.
Okay.
And that would be my celebrity meal.
Nice.
That would be my celebrity meal.
Mine would be, I would call it the brown bag special. It would be a McDouble.
I like that.
And 100 spicy put together. So when you make the McGangbang, right? McDouble and 100 spicy. So a McGangbang, 2 apple pies, and a basket of fries.
I like it.
And a large Dr. Pepper.
You gotta have the basket, classic basket.
Yeah.
I like it. They give you a little fake basket. That'd be dope. That'd be freaking cool.
Yeah, that's what they would call it, the brown bag special.
The brown bag special.
Yep. Yeah, because I mean, you get a McGangbang, and a basket of fries. Can't go wrong with that.
It's that late night Taco Bell type vibes.
Yeah, pretty
I
much.
fuck with it. I fuck with it.
All right, man. That's pretty much it for the show. We're definitely gonna bring you back because there's more shit I want to talk to you about.
For sure. It was great being here.
Yeah, I appreciate you giving us some time. It was fun. It was a lot of fun. It was awesome catching up to you. You did great.
For sure.
I'm definitely maybe next week. Maybe.
I should be down. Okay. I'll double check my schedule and see if everything's all good. And then if everything works out, then I'd be down for next week. Mondays are perfect actually.
Okay.
Because my wife's super busy. She's getting ready to go through her big season where it gets really busy at her work. So like she's not gonna be busy. She's gonna be busy a lot of the time. So it's gonna be good for me to get some. I'll have some free time.
Yeah. So okay. Yeah. So we'll definitely try to do this again because, like I said, there's a lot more shit I want to talk to you about. Cool. I appreciate you coming on the show. Do you got any social media you want to promote?
You can follow me on Instagram at It's That Guy Kyle. Again, it's at It's That Guy Kyle. You can also follow me on Twitter under the same profile. But just know that my actual header name is Spooky McSpookerton right now, just because I'm doing the Halloween thing. And then during Christmas time, Thanksgiving, I'll be another thing, and then Christmas, I'll be another thing. Just It's That Guy Kyle is a good rule of thumb. You can also follow me on StockTwits. What's it called? Under Balto's Revenge.
Nice.
if you want to check on stocks and what I'm doing.
Sweet.
So take a look at that. I don't do much, but I'm only in one thing right now. But I was doing a lot for a while.
Cool.
But I have one that I'm currently all in right now on, which isn't usually the smartest, but you know what?
Yeah. Fuck it. Oh, fuck it. So you gotta take risks in life sometimes, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, plus right now COVID is the perfect time to be doing it, to be honest with you. Even because I don't have a lot of money in it.
Okay.
It's just kind of fun. It's just fun money.
Sweet. Awesome.
So, yeah.
Well, thank you again, Kyle. I really appreciate you coming on here. We're going to do our local of the artist before we end the show. Our local of the artist of the week is brought to you by Southern Star Brewing Co., located at 3525 North Fraser Street, Conroe, Texas 77303. They just had their Oktoberfest. It was awesome. I got to try a whole bunch of beer. They had their bombshell blonde out there with jasmine green tea. So if you want to try that, I definitely recommend going to the brewery because that's the only place you can get it. But besides that, they have an amazing low-calorie IPA. It's called Lil Cal. It is an IPA that's full flavor. It's super robust in flavors, but it only has 100 calories and 3.2 grams of carbs. They also
great.
Huh?
That's actually pretty great.
Yeah, it's pretty much.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut in the middle of that, but 100 calorie IPA.
It's 3 calories more than the Michelob. That's all I gotta say.
Sorry.
Also, besides the low cal, if you're not really feeling the IPA, they got their delicious Southern Brunch. It's a light and refreshing citrus shandy. And I gotta tell you guys, it literally tastes like a mimosa in the can. So if maybe you're having chicken and waffles on a Saturday and you want a little something to go with it, but you don't want an actual mimosa, get you some Southern Brunch. Because I promise you, I guarantee you, it tastes like a mimosa in a can. Lastly, they also have for their seasonal, their Oktoberfest and their Buried Hatchet, which is a delicious chocolatey stout. So please go check them out. They make great beer. They make beer for people who like beer, and they definitely make beer for people who aren't huge fans. Believe me, their Strawberry Blonde has turned any person I've let try that beer a fan of Strawberry Blonde beer. So with that being said, our local artist of the week is a Rosenbeg native. That's Rosenbeg is part of the greater Houston area. He's a Rosenbeg native. His name is Michael. He goes under the alias Kryticle. He is a super fast rhymer. He's dope as shit. I've met him a couple times. He spits. He reminds me a lot of Ritz. If you've ever listened to Ritz, he spits like that. He's a very fast flow. He's going off on all his songs. He spits real life shit. It's super good. I recently talked to him. He was in the studio. He's actually working on 6 new tracks. But for this week, we're gonna play his song "Addiction," which definitely hit close to home when I heard it.
You know, I've lost a lot of friends to addiction. I almost lost myself. You see, don't ever be afraid to get help. See, the thing about addiction is you can't help somebody that doesn't want to help themselves. It's critical. Addiction. See, you're living my life every day trying to battle this addiction. When you're so deep into you don't even want to listen. Trying to get your fix in, saying fuck your family, you don't care if you lose them. While you're searching every cabinet in the kitchen. Cause your baby mama hid your liquor, now you gotta hit her cause you need it really bad. Cause your mentality is telling you if you don't get it any sooner then you'll probably die right now. I need 3 shots to get rid of the shakes. I need 4 shots, stop sweat on my face. I need 5 shots, 6 shots, 7 shots, 8 shots, 9 shots, I'll do whatever it takes. I need McCormick vodka, shit I'll even take the talk. It just depends how much money's in my pocket. And if I can't afford to drink, I'll be in the parking lot contemplating loading my Glock up. I can walk in there and get a bottle really easy, all I really need is my gun. I'm not gonna hurt nobody when I go when all I really need to grab is just one. See, I really fucking hate the person I am, cause I'm looking to get a drink whenever I possibly can. I'm supposed to be a father to my daughter, but whenever I drink the way that I do, I don't even feel like a man. I just need one taste, I just need one taste. I'll do whatever it takes, whatever it takes. I don't care about the relationships that I'm gonna break. As long as I get my buzzin', I'm gonna be okay. Yeah. Waking up every night with the cold sweats. Gotta take another shot just to cope with. Going through withdrawals cause you haven't had a drink in a couple hours and your body's feeling a little bit hopeless. You sit there thinking you need help and you know this, and you're hoping no one else would notice. But your body's kinda withering away and it's getting kinda hard not to show this. Cause you never eat, never sleep, never drink no water. And you barely have enough energy to get out of bed and feed your daughter. And you need to get another couple shots to soak into your empty stomach. There goes your stomach lining, now your throw up and your shits are bloody. Everybody wants to help you but you don't wanna help yourself. Shit, the only reason that you haven't killed yourself is cause you're afraid of hell. Shit, you're probably going there anyway, so fuck it, man, you might as well. Cause if you don't end it right now, then you'll probably end up in the cell. DUIs will never fail. I just want my family to look at me the same way that they used to, for I kept them through the same pain. I want my daughter growing up knowing I quit the liquor, not standing by my casket thinking that I didn't love her. I need to be strong, but it's not so easy on the spot. Going through withdrawal anxiety and depressing thoughts. I've tried so hard, but I guess the only way that I'm gonna stop is by me saying cheers and me